If you've ever really needed a Victory Monday, then it is here. And welcome back. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. Happy Victory Monday here today. Today is going to be the September 22nd edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We have news from over the weekend. We have a PCE print coming this week. We've got Costco earnings coming this week. We are not out of September yet. Will that seasonality effect be delayed and start this week? Lot to cover here. New week starts right here. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for September 22nd. The Victory Monday edition begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful weekend, and I hope that you're all rested because now we are back and we've got more work to do this week. We had a great week last week, and we're looking to take that positive energy and spin it forward here in this week. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. And first here today, Sun-Kissed Yogi, you must have had a great weekend because the early bird gets the worm here today. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Peter, welcome back. I am not pre-market. That sounds like almost like you're channeling your inner Bruce Lee. Well, be water today, and we're going to find stocks that are moving in the regular session. Peter, good morning and welcome back. Francis, good morning, welcome back. Cad Monkey, good morning, welcome back. Kayla, good morning, welcome back. Big Dave, good morning, locked in. Austin, good to see you again. You ready to go, Austin? We are out here. Big Bear Hug, good morning. He's back from vacation. He's ready to go, and we are ready to have you. Awesome stuff. Producers locked in. Yes, that girl, in parentheses. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Happy Monday to you indeed. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Whisk, good morning. All that glitters, good morning. Candace, it's good to see you again. Kevin, good morning. Chuck, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Dave Callahan, good morning. Jim Ferrari, good morning. The Philippian Baker, the philanthropist Baker, okay. Good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Durkis, good morning. Lambo Rolls, good morning. Day Trader, it's good to see you. Dave Callahan says Costco 1000 calls. All right, we looking for a Costco trade here on earnings. Costco a little bit weaker here in the pre-market today. We'll see if we get a setup for that, Dave. Brian, good morning. Brandy's locked in. Good morning. Just passing through is back. Let's go. Glass half full's got the coffee and donuts ready. Just add some profit to that equation, and we're in good shape on a Monday morning. Mike, good to see you again. Can I cover the Tylenol autism thing? Not yet. I don't think we have enough details on there. I know that there's some hair on fire back and forth going on, and I don't think that we have enough information yet to make an educated trade decision. So what I would say there, first of all, I don't have anything on deck to cover it here today. What I would say there is you probably should wait on that, right? Maybe there is something that we can do on that. I just don't know if we have enough information on any of that yet, Mike. We'll see. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Jonathan, good morning. Lion's back. Chris is back. Tarek is back. Good morning to all three of you. Chris, good morning. What a win yesterday is right. AE, good morning. GB Slice, welcome back. Solitary Soldier, good morning. JJ, good morning. Eli and Mama Bear, good morning. Findico, good morning. We will have a blessed day. Thanks for being here. Abby, good morning. Matt Sinzi, good morning. Timothy, good morning. James, good morning. Zach, good morning. Kinky shirt, Ryan, LOL. And Brim for breakfast, good morning. Let's go ahead and get our stock market today. All right, futures under a bit of pressure here this morning after the weekend. S&P futures down 0.32%, the Dow down 0.35%, and the NASDAQ down 0.36%. So weakness across the board on the futures here this morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at some cues from last session here. Information technology, utilities, and communication services stocks recorded the biggest gains on Friday as most sectors of the S&P 500 closed on a positive note. However, energy and real estate stocks bucked the overall market trend, closing the session lower. U.S. stocks settled higher with the Dow Jones hitting a fresh record high. For the week, the S&P gained 1.2%, the Dow added 1%, and the NASDAQ surged 2.2%, all three of them hitting new all-time highs. Among mega cap movers, Apple jumped 3.2% on strong demand for the new iPhone 17. In China, pre-orders topped those of the iPhone 16 in just 1 minute. That helped Apple shares climb above the 245 which is their highest level since February of this year. On the economic front, the Baker Hughes oil rig count rose by 2 to 418 in the last week. On Sunday, President Trump said media mogul Lachlan Murdoch and tech leaders Oracle's co-founder Larry Ellison and Dell's CEO Michael Dell take part as investors in a proposed deal to transfer TikTok's U.S. operations from the Chinese parent company ByteDance to American ownership. Speaking on Fox News Sunday briefing, Trump praised the group and called them, quote, American patriots, end quote. That came from Reuters. He also cited TikTok with helping him connect with younger voters during the 2024 presidential race. On Friday, Trump confirmed he had spoken with President Xi Jinping, Chinese President Xi Jinping, calling the conversation progress and said that the two leaders would meet at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in South Korea on October 31st. This is important because this gives us a key day. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond continued to tick up to 4.12%, and the 2-year bond yielded 3.57%. All right, let's go back to the chart here from Pro. We're going to take a look at where the SPY sits, and then we'll go ahead. Oops, got a different stock from last week there. Let's take a look at the SPY and see where we sit and how this sets up for today. Here we go. So futures under pressure here today. You can see that the SPY is still holding up near all-time highs. I actually have that all-time high value from the regular session about 644 and change. I've got it 664.89. I've got 665.10 as a pre-market high. So that 665 area absolutely represents upside resistance if somehow we firm up and show some strength here today. Otherwise, I think a couple of the levels that we're going to be looking at is going to be almost a confluence of this 20-day moving average. That value is at 652.15. If we take a look at the candle that gave us a really kind of a bottom wick there on Wednesday of last week, the low on that candle is 654.30. So this 654.5 to 652 area looks like some pretty significant support if we do end up trading down there on that. We'll see what we end up getting there. So this is kind of where we're sitting with the SPY. We'll see what we get here. Again, just kind of a look ahead at some of the, let me actually go back to the morning update. A look ahead this week. We have the Chicago Fed National Activity Index today. We have a whole bunch of Fed speakers all week. Today, we've got Fed Williams and Musalem, and then also Barkin, Hammack, and Mirren, all of those at the Economic Club of New York luncheon. That starts here, it looks like 9:45 Eastern and continues through noon. On Tuesday, we have the S&P Global data. We have Bowman, Bostic, Powell speaking. On Wednesday, we have mortgage application and refi data. That will be pretty important for the trade that we have on either mortgage origination or home builders. On Thursday, we get durable goods, jobless claims, retail inventories, home sales, and then we have Bowman and Barr speaking, as well as mortgage rate data. And then on Friday, we get the PCE data. This is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. That data is going to be important. We also have Barkin, Musalem, and Bowman speaking on Friday, as well as the Michigan consumer sentiment on Friday. Now, for today, fairly light day, so we'll see what the market ends up doing here. No IPOs here today. No IPOs here today. The only real event we have is CCEC, which is Capital Clean Energy. They have an annual meeting of shareholders today. CrowdStrike got a hold from Canaccord with a $500 price target. CrowdStrike pretty much already right there. We'll see if there's any movement. They also got a buy from Rosenblatt with a $550 price target. So we'll see what happens with that here today. Sarepta, which we have talked about, that had a huge falling out here. Sarepta got an outperform from BMO Capital with a $50 price target. Stock is $18.50. That pretty much does it here. Let's go ahead and take a look at some insights from analysts here. The downturn in new construction, according to the data released last week, prompted a stark warning from the Kobesi letter, which stated, quote, "This signals fewer homes will be built, tightening supply further. Housing is set to become even less affordable." This is not what we want to go. In fact, we want to go in the opposite direction. So if this ends up holding up, this would be no bueno. The latest new residential construction report from the U.S. Census Bureau painted a bearish picture for August of 2025. Building permits, a key indicator of future supply, fell 3.7% from July to an annualized rate of 1.3 million. This is the lowest level since May of 2020. This marks the fifth consecutive monthly decline and the longest negative streak since the 2008 financial crisis. Meanwhile, housing starts plummeted 8.5% for the month. The weakening housing data provided a clear rationale for the Federal Reserve's 25 basis point rate cut. That's according to Jamie Cox, managing partner for Harris Financial Group. The numbers were, quote, "cooperating for the Fed to adjust rates," end quote. However, the move may not be enough to spur a quick recovery. Eric Thiel, Chief Information Officer for Comerica Wealth Management, noted that a more substantial, quote, 2% decline in mortgage rates is needed to jumpstart the housing market, end quote. This is something that we discuss with our housing expert or our real estate expert on Happy Hour quite frequently. What is that magic area where all of a sudden we see a jumpstart in the housing market? We've speculated that it could be around 6% on mortgage interest rates. I don't think anyone really knows, but this is clearly what people are waiting for here, especially for housing. Now, some of the other news that's going on here, TikTok is floating around in the news here. On Sunday, President Trump said media mogul Lachlan Murdoch and tech leaders from Oracle's CEO Larry Ellison to Dell's CEO Michael Dell will take part as investors in a proposed deal to transfer TikTok's U.S. operations from Chinese parent ByteDance to American ownership. The plan would create a U.S.-based joint venture in which American investors, hold a majority stake, with ByteDance limited to less than 20%. The board overseeing TikTok's U.S. operations would reportedly be composed of directors with national security and cybersecurity backgrounds. Murdoch, the CEO of Fox Corp, that's ticker FOXA, solidified his family's control of its media empire, which includes Fox News and the Wall Street Journal. Trump suggested that Rupert Murdoch, the 94-year-old family patriarch, could also play a role. Two people familiar with the matter told the publication that any investment would come through Fox Corp, not the Murdochs as individuals. Ellison, the billionaire co-founder of Oracle and a longtime Republican donor, has previously been linked to TikTok negotiations. He's had a pretty good last couple weeks here, Larry Ellison. Dell was also named by Trump, though his company has not yet commented. The Trump administration, has so far declined to enforce a 2024 law passed under former President Joe Biden requiring TikTok to be divested by January of 2025. Instead, Trump has used the app as leverage in broader trade talks with China. On Friday, Trump confirmed that he had spoken with Chinese President Xi Jinping, calling the conversation progress, and said that the two leaders would meet at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in South Korea on October 31st. Trump extended TikTok's U.S. divestment deadline to December 16th, allowing the platform, which counts 170 million U.S. users, to continue operations during said negotiations. Critics argue TikTok poses a national security threat. The fears that Beijing could access U.S. user data and influence public opinion. Supporters say the app has been majority owned by U.S.-based investors, including General Atlantic and Susquehanna International Group, since its launch in 2018. The White House has said any agreement must fully separate TikTok's algorithm from ByteDance to address these ongoing concerns. Shares of TikTok's U.S. rivals dipped on Friday amid this news. That includes stocks like Meta Platforms, ticker META, the parent of Instagram and Facebook. They slipped about 0.25%, while Snap, ticker SNAP, dropped 3.32%, according to Benzinga Pro. So I would ask you folks then, where do you think this is going? Someone asked last week about Snap. Are you trading Snap on the TikTok deal? Are you trading Meta on the TikTok deal? Which one makes more sense to you, folks? To me, the more appealing trade here is Meta, just because I think we can get more out of it. But I'm still not sure how this is all going to shake out. So if you have trade ideas and any of this, if you have trade ideas on any of the things that revolve around TikTok, let the group know. I'm sure that's going to be something we're going to be taking a look at here. Now, the other piece of news here regards H-1B visas. President Trump's proposed 100,000 H-1B visa fee confused large U.S. companies, prompting the White House to clarify the situation on Saturday. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt addressed the issue on X, stating that it's not an annual fee, but a one-time charge that applies only when the visa petition is filed. For those of you looking for that tweet thread, if you want any of that information, here you go. That is now in the chat. Now, how does this affect some of the major companies that we trade all of the time? Good question. I'm glad you asked. According to Fortune, major companies like Microsoft, ticker MSFT, Alphabet, GOOG and GOOGL, and Amazon, ticker AMZN, quickly instructed their H-1B employees to head back to the U.S. and cancel travel plans following the visa fee news. JP Morgan, ticker JPM, and Goldman Sachs, ticker GS, also issued similar warnings. As of early 2025, Amazon and its cloud unit Amazon Web Services has received more than 12,000 H-1B visa approvals, while Microsoft and Meta have each secured over 5,000. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to get to it here, but yes, they will. I'm going to save it here. The new policy comes as tech companies face allegations of discrimination. OpenAI and others have been accused of posting job ads that unfairly prioritize H-1B applicants, often through local newspaper ads that direct candidates to immigration teams. Meta settled with the Department of Justice in 2021 over similar advertising practices, and Apple followed with its own sentiment in 2023. E-marketer analyst Jeremy Goldman warned the U.S., quote, risks taxing away its innovation edge, trading dynamism for short-sighted protectionism, end quote. Leavitt clarified that the fee only applies to new petitions and not renewals. Those who already hold the H-1B visa and are outside the U.S. will not be required to pay this fee to re-enter. According to the reports, the H-1B visa issue has previously divided Trump's circle. Tesla, ticker TSLA, CEO Elon Musk has been a strong supporter of skilled immigration, stating in December, quote, "The reason I am in America, along with so many critical people who built SpaceX, Tesla, and hundreds of other companies that made America strong, is because of the H-1B." End quote. On the other hand, Vice President J.D. Vance and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene have argued for prioritizing American workers over foreign talent. The new policy introduces a $1 million gold card visa for wealthy investors seeking U.S. citizenship. Existing H-1B holders can continue their usual travel, with the new fee only applying to the next lottery cycle of new applicants. So again, we'll see how this shakes out and how this affects some of the bigger companies there. My initial read on this is this should probably be much ado about nothing. This should not really affect some of these big companies. This is a very, very small write-off. This might affect smaller companies, although again, we'll see how that all shakes out. I don't think we understand all of the mechanisms of this just yet. All right, let me break up the news here a little bit. Let's take a look at a chart, and it's going to be everyone's favorite chart. The stock I aptly call Big Mama, or in this case, Apple, ticker AAPL. We talked about this recently. Here's the chart that we have here on Apple. This has been great for us. This has just been absolutely great for us. I hope some of you folks have been able to make some money off of this, both of the extended sustained move that Apple's been doing, but also recently we really highlighted the 215 break and the 233 target. Now we're above that. Sure looks like what we're going to do next here is target a 260-ish area. This area is derived from the trend line that starts at the bottom of January in 2023. It goes through a bunch of downside supports. It clearly shows where Apple has changed its trend. Now that it looks like Apple has bottomed and is trying to regain its uptrend, this now becomes a target for us if Apple continues to move higher. It is also worth noting here, 250 likely to be a pretty sticky spot for Apple. So I don't think it's all just flowers and roses right up to that 260. We'll see what Apple does here, 250. In the pre-market here, Apple 247. So we're right on that 250 spot. Now, as far as the news, stop me if you've heard this before, but Dan Ives is bullish on it. I'll pinch myself to make sure I'm awake. Apple shares got a boost on Friday, after which Wedbush Securities analyst Dan Ives raised its price target to $310, citing strong early demand for the iPhone 17 lineup. We briefly touched on this a little bit last week. Apple shares rose 3.2% on Friday to $245.50, and they are a little bit higher here today again, despite the market weakness. This extended its 1 month gain to 7.79%, according to Benzinga Pro. Over the weekend, I've said the launch of Apple's latest flagship device is exceeding expectations, with demand trends already outpacing last year's cycle. Quote, raising price targets on Apple to $310 based on the early strong demand signs coming from the iPhone 17 cycle. Ives wrote that on X. Quote, with iPhone 17 officially going on sale, we are positively surprised on the demand trajectory. Units appear to be tracking 10 to 15% ahead of iPhone 16 thus far. Now, of course, this is really going to be important for this to keep up. We definitely want to see these trends keep up into the holiday season. That would be gigantic for Apple. And if the market doesn't fall apart here, Apple likely to test some of those areas we just talked about a second ago. The iPhone 17 series has seen strong consumer turnout in China and India. In China, the Pro Max model, starting at 10,000 yuan or $1,400 US, has quickly emerged as the top seller. In Beijing, roughly 300 customers lined up outside of Apple's flagship store on launch day. Buylighters. Oh, that's good stuff. Just checked. Sorry, the Bears scored again. My bad. Buyers highlighted the larger 6.3-inch display with 120 megahertz ProMotion, a new orange colorway, which they're featuring in basically all of their commercials, longer battery life, and a 256 gigabyte base storage option as key selling points. India also witnessed large crowds in Mumbai and Delhi, with Apple's retail partners offering cashback, trade-in discounts, and bundled deals in order to drive sales. Apple has struggled in China amid pressure from rivals Huawei and Xiaomi, but analysts say that the iPhone 17 could deliver a year-end lift. JP Morgan's Samik Chatterjee noted its demand is, quote, tracking modestly ahead, end quote, of the iPhone 16, while Omida senior analyst Chu Li Zhao projected an 11% rise in shipments in China for the second half of 2025. That contributes to 5% full-year growth. Bank of America Securities also raised its target to 270, citing Apple's strength in international markets and ongoing AI integration. This, to me, is one of the key takeaways here. If you're able to get all of these phones into the hands of consumers, and we see an uptick in this cycle, and then you layer on something that's AI related, that's actually good, even if it's later in that cycle, I think this is going to have a tremendous, maybe even a secondary wave of demand. We'll see. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Apple has clearly been promising AI and innovation for a long time and really haven't delivered. I think that just kind of sets up for another potential positive catalyst if they're able to get that done. Despite lagging competitors in AI features, Apple has learned to design and engineer upgrades to reignite enthusiasm. This is what we talk about when we talk about the iPhone effectively being a service. People are going to upgrade those phones. I think we had a discussion last week, perhaps even the week before, about how many of you might still be on older versions of the iPhone. I'd be curious to know, what is it for you personally? No wrong answers here. What is it for you personally that drives an upgrade? For example, I don't use Apple phones. I use Samsung phones, and I am on an upgrade cadence of about once every 2 years. The reason I picked that is because I can often get deals associated with the phone. I don't think I've ever paid one of these retail prices from a phone that we read all the time. I don't think I've ever done that. So I get discounts on that, but also I feel like the technology leap, whether it's battery life, camera, storage, apps, performance, the technology leap is normally not enough for me to get up and buy every year. Every other year seems to be a little bit more fitting. I'm curious to see where the rest of you folks land on that. And I'm curious to see, I guess the one thing that I want to know, is there anyone out there that is currently not in the Apple ecosystem that is considering joining? Because I still suspect that if more people move to Apple, there's an entire leg up that we're not even talking about right now. I don't know if we're going to get that. That's just kind of what I'm thinking in there. Ryan here says everyone is on an old version with Apple. Well, if that's the case, get ready, boss, because this stock is going higher. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is a joke or maybe a little bit of hyperbole and exaggeration. If there is a substantial number of users that are on a lower iPhone model, and this is the year, this is going to be, I don't want to say super cycle because I think those words get thrown around a little too much. But if this is true, this represents some more potential upside here. This marks some more potential upside here in the near term. Day Trader said, I just upgraded my iPhone 12. You were 5 generations behind to the Solana phone. So not only was Day Trader 5 generations behind, but you're out of the ecosystem now, right, my man? Telling. Barry the Goat says, still using iPhone 11 and not bothered. So Barry, first of all, I'm glad that you're not bothered, and I'm glad that's working for you. That's obviously the most important thing. Are you not even considering an iPhone this holiday season? What if your special someone got you one? Just throwing it out there. Zabeth says, I only get a new phone when I truly break one or it doesn't get updates anymore. So there's a lot of people that are in your camp here, honestly. I know I actually have one of my friends who is plenty wealthy, and he just says, if I don't need it, why would I spend money on it? Why would I spend a lot of money on something that I don't actually need? Is really the equation there. So I totally get that. The screen cracking, that has been that's got to be the biggest reason to replace a phone. Knock on wood. I hope I'm not jinxing myself now, because I'm going to be pissed if I am. Knock on wood. I've never been forced into replacing a phone because of a cracked screen. I've done an adequate job protecting it. Okay, just gonna keep rolling through this really quick. Funky Cold Stocks, I'm on a 13 and I don't upgrade until the tech slows down. So you're what, 4 generations behind and the tech's not slowing down? That's a pretty good, that's pretty good, right? I feel like that's a pretty good sign. I used to feel like these phones, back when I was using BlackBerry, oh my God, I feel like you get a new update or a new phone and they intentionally slow the phones down. And I've had other Apple customers say that they suspect the same thing. Tyler's on an iPhone 13 and it works perfectly fine. Day Trader is taking it one step further here. He's canceling his Apple services. Look out. Empyrean, good morning. It's good to see you this morning, my man. My iPhone is like 6 years old. I don't even know or care what model it is because it still works. All right. So Lambo Rolls, I have 3 phones for different businesses. No desire to upgrade since there is nothing mind-blowing about the new phone. This is really good. I really appreciate this insight. There's more here that I can read, but you folks are this is telling to me. It tells me two things. It tells me that a huge contingent of our group here is in fact on older iPhones, like the channel checks have shown. But it also tells me that you folks, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you're still getting good performance out of your phone, you're not necessarily looking to upgrade here. Raffle says the iPhone costs 4 times the stock. You mean 4 shares worth of the stock. Sunkissed Yogi, my 12 ran out of space and forced me to upgrade to the 16. All right, so 4 years then between your upgrade cycle there. I would imagine, based on what you're saying here, you're in no business or you're not in the camp of looking for a 17, as you already have a much newer phone here. Big Bees is on an iPhone 10. Do they even call it a 10? Do they call it an X? Man, oh man. All right. So this is telling. This is really telling. Yes, a lot of folks are on older iPhones, but no, I don't think I've seen a single one of you say that you're going to rush out to buy this new one, despite being on older ones. That's good data. We'll see how that changes here as we get into the holiday season. Really good stuff there from the group. Okay, I'm going to go back and break this up again. We're going to take a look at a chart, and it's been a popular chart amongst our group. It is open. Here's what the daily chart looks like. And I'll be honest with you, just on the surface here, I'm not ready to write the stock off just yet. We'll see how it trades here today. Nice little impulse move. Obviously, no, a big move like this, I don't advise you go after an investment after a huge move like this. Instead, wait for a pullback. We actually are down just about 5% here today. But if we take a look at this daily, this area seems to be holding here. I'm eyeballing this right now, but it sure looks like 880 pretty much marks the bottom end of this area that we've been trading back and forth in after the push to recent highs. I know we did a really good job covering this last week. We had a number of levels above 10. This one goes up here. This one, the high print here, 1087. That likely in play. So the $10 and 1087 levels in play here today, as well as that downside level that we are quite close to around 880. The one thing to keep in mind here, if open breaks out of this formation, I think it's almost a certainty that we challenge the 7.5 level, maybe even fill the gap down here to 7.25. Something to keep in mind on open. We'll go ahead and take a look at what the news is here today. Open Door is, quote, total garbage, end quote. This hedge fund manager, first of all, telling us what he really feels, says that the business model does not work. Hedge fund manager George Noble criticized iBuying platform Open Door Technologies, again, ticker OPEN, which has seen a monumental 1,776% rally since hitting an all-time low in late June. In a post on X, Noble, who has founded $2 billion hedge funds and was an assistant to famed investor Peter Lynch, called Open Door, quote, total garbage, end quote, while warning investors against believing in its long-term viability. He goes on to say, quote, the company has lost money every single year since its founding. And then goes on to say the business model does not work and has atrocious unit economics. I'll tell you what, this guy is sparing no vocab words. He is just out here with daggers ready to go. And I get it. This is what makes the market. There's obviously heat on both sides of this. And until that dies down, open likely to be volatile. Noble argued that the cost-cutting measures that the company is currently in the midst of are unlikely to have any material impact on the company's long-term trajectory. Quote, cost-cutting will not move the needle, he said, while saying that investors can, quote, go ahead and speculate, but warns against pretending that there's a fundamental case, end quote. The post also drew comparisons between Open Door and its industry peers Compass. That's ticker COMP. We don't talk about that. Maybe we should. Noble pointed out that while Open Door trades at 22 times enterprise value to revenues, Compass is valued at just 9/10 times and maintains a strong balance sheet and is profitable. Now, this to me, right off the top here, this kind of goes back. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about. Sorry, lost my train of thought. 13 sent me a message here that was related to Pro. Lost my train of thought. This kind of goes back to our discussion about, are fundamentals important? How long can this market go without fundamentals making sense and all of that? So it'll be interesting to see what Open does next here. I'm not ready to just write this off just because of this. I do think fundamentals are going to take hold at some point. I'm not sure. I don't feel confident that that day is today, though. Noble further cautioned investors against being swayed by frenzies surrounding the stock. Quote, ignore the siren calls of the Army and the DYOR, which I'm not even sure what that stands for. You guys are going to have to help me out with that. End quote. He wrote using, do your own research. I guess I just have to keep reading. There. Good stuff. Here's the tweet itself. For any of you that want to kind of follow this, if you're trading Open or if you're thinking of trading Open or whatever the case is, the tweets are going to be in here. That links to a number of the threads. We're going to talk about the growing list of naysayers here. Open Door shares have posted a strong rally in recent months. That was, of course, propelled by fund manager Eric Jackson, who pegged a price target of $82 per share for the stock, which represents an upside of still 756% from its current levels. This is after the meteoric rise that it's recently put in. I'm going to take time now to shout out Jay Rice, who brought this to us when it was fresh and hot. He actually sent me the tweet. I shared it with the group here. Really, really good early indication there. Anyway, investor Martin Shkreli, I don't know why I'm having trouble with his name. Martin Shkreli, popularly known as Pharma Bro, recently announced a short position against the company, calling it a, quote, obvious short, end quote, while adding that he would be doing comprehensive due diligence on the company by calling employees, customers, competitors, and even management. Citron Research, led by famed short seller Andrew Left, attacked the stock earlier this month, calling it, quote, nothing more than a stock promo and a science project and how to burn money, end quote, while pointing out several holes in the platform's strategy and business model. Open Door shares were down 3.72% on Friday. They look to be under pressure here again in the pre-market. What I would like to know from the group here, where do you guys fall on this? I know you folks like it for a trade, especially on days where it gives us a trading opportunity. That's not what I mean. How about the long-term viability of this? Do you like that? Do you like Open? Or do you agree with Pharma Bro? Is this thing just a piece of junk, overvalued, and a trap? It's a trap. You'll have to let me know which side of that you fall on here. Lion says, I bought Open when it was below 1. So Lion just completely ignoring my question and then saying something unrelated to that. But the good news here is that this actually emphasizes something that we have been talking about quite a bit last week. Your entry is extremely important. And using Lion as an example here, when your entry is under 1 and the stock moves to $6, $7, $8, $9, let people argue about whether it's junk or not. Your entry was so good, you're in just a massive amount of profit, and you can trade it any way that you want. So a Lion, that makes a lot of sense there. Playing with house money is the lesson there. Lion, I would completely agree with that. Let's focus on entries more than anything else. Ryan says, Open will Carvana. Now, do you mean go up huge, come back in huge, and then go again? What exactly do you mean by that? I do know Carvana has actually been a pretty active stock for some of our group members here, so we'll be unsurprised if Open follows the same suit, garners the same type of trading for that. We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out here. Okay. How are we doing here? We're doing really good on time. No guests today. Really good stuff. I got one more here. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway exits the BYD position after 17 years. This ends a Charlie Munger backed bet here. Investor Warren Buffett's company Berkshire Hathaway has exited its entire position in BYD. That's ticker BYDDY and BYDDF. 3 years after it began offloading the Tesla rival stock. So it took 3 years for them to exit this position. It looks like they are all cleaned up on that now. The company, which owned over 225 million shares in the automaker, exited its position completely following its Q1 financial filing, which showed that the company owns 0 shares in BYD. That was reported by CNBC on Sunday. A spokesperson for Berkshire corroborated the filing. The company had bought BYD 17 years ago in 2009, following an urge by Berkshire Hathaway's vice chairman at the time, Charlie Munger. The investor had reportedly told shareholders that BYD was a, quote, miracle, end quote. The news comes as BYD recently slashed its annual sales target by 16% to 4.6 million units, down from an earlier target of 5.5 million units in 2025. The downgrade comes as the company had reported a 30% drop in domestic profit at the Q2 earnings call. Now, for those of you that listen to podcasts like myself, if you listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, even if you just listen to it haphazardly and don't listen to all of them, you've undoubtedly heard him at one point say, the Chinese are killing us on AI, or the Chinese are killing us on electric cars. Have you seen the Chinese electric cars? They're so far ahead of us. No, they ain't. They ain't far ahead of us. And this here just goes a long way to kind of show that. I'm not saying that some Chinese electric car at some point isn't going to make a big impact. They are not nearly as far ahead as some of these podcasters will make you think. And now we're getting some confirmation of that. Despite this, the company has experienced a surge in European sales, which jumped 225% as Tesla declined 40% in the region. BYD clocked in over 13,503 units in July. And the thing about this is that you're going to keep seeing, as more and more people have actual experience with these cars, you will see how this changes and how it changes oh so quickly. A recent report by South Korean research firm SNE showcased that the company captured over 17% of the global battery market share, recording 105 gigawatts of battery installations throughout the world. BYD is also eyeing a renewed push into the Indian market following easing tensions between New Delhi and Beijing. Interestingly, Tesla, which has also entered the Indian market recently, recorded 600 orders of the Model Y. The Model Y is the only model of the EV giant offers in the region. Drew here says they're definitely ahead of us. Drew, we're just going to have to wait and see how this all shakes out. I know where my bets stand, and I feel good about that. Okay. And then let's see, what time is it? We don't have 13 yet. Okay. Last story here, just a really quick quantum story. And this is going to be about D-Wave. Sclerelli making some more news here. A critique of D-Wave Quantum. That again is ticker QBTS. Amplified by Pharma Bros Martin Sclerelli is challenging the company's viability, alleging its technology is a potential, quote, dead end, end quote. Citing multiple research papers, the viral analysis on X makes the shocking claim that it would take D-Wave Quantum's annealer until 2054 to match the current performance of existing classical solvers, raising serious questions about its claimed quantum advantage. I'm going to go ahead and give you this news story because it's actually going to have all of the, it's going to have all of the accompanying tweets that you might want to go through here if you want to go down the rabbit hole here on QBTS. Just to be clear, even if this ends up being true, I don't think that QBTS is going to be a no trade. I think we're going to have plenty of trading options in both directions on this one going forward. I don't think this whole quantum theme is done by any means, even if this stuff ends up being true here. There's no plausible path for QBTS tech to become useful. This assertion stems from a benchmark study conducted at the Jülich Supercomputing Center in Germany, which compared D-Wave's machine to Velox Q, a solver that runs on conventional CPUs and GPUs. This specific damning projection is just one piece of a comprehensive argument that D-Wave is being consistently outclassed. The analysis further alleges that the company failed to qualify for even the initial stage of DARPA's Quantum Benchmark Initiative, suggesting the U.S. Defense Research Agency sees, quote, no plausible path, end quote, for the technology to become useful. According to a thread, D-Wave's latest hardware is also outperformed by competing systems like Fujitsu's Digital Annealer and even free software programs like Gurobi and Cplex on real-world optimization platforms. Now, full disclosure here, I actually have no idea about either of these real world optimization platforms. This is something that's still kind of outside my wheelhouse. If anyone has information on this, I'd be interested in that. Like Mark here saying, I'm working on a 0-point energy quantum computer. Okay. I'd like your insight on some of this, if you don't mind sharing that with the group here. Beyond performance issues, the critique accuses D-Wave's management of a pattern of deception, including promoting a research paper on scaling advantage that was allegedly debunked within a month of its publication. Again, a lot of really good, really kind of in-depth tweets on this. It doesn't make sense for me to cover all of it. It's just going to be too technical. Links in the chat there if you want to do some of that dive on your own. The thread also highlights the emergence of what it calls game-changing new technologies, such as P computers, which are described as being millions of times more powerful and more efficient while operating at room temperature. The post adds that P computers, quote, surpass QA/OA for quantum, making it clear that the D-Wave annealer is dead-end tech, end quote. These serious allegations of technological obsolescence and misleading marketing surfaced just as D-Wave stock was trading near 52-week highs last week. It's just so funny how that works. Fueled by positive news of commercial growth and potential government investment in the quantum sector, creating a stark conflict between the company's market momentum and the scientific community's alleged verdict on the technology. So as mentioned, all of these quantum stocks have really been on a rip recently. This one pretty damning here for D-Wave. We'll see how that ends up shaking out here. Mark goes on to say quantum is a bit all over the place at the moment and is finding strange, scary stuff. I'd like some more context on that. Definitely. All right. Let's start taking a look at some stocks. We are basically at this point just waiting for 13. We'll see when he shows up here. I know that you guys had said there's some new Ondas news. We'll go, oh, Ondas was actually red in the pre-market earlier. Hey, here we go. Let's see if we can break 7 here today. Let's see what this news is. Ondas receives a $3.5 million order from a defense entity for the purchase of multiple units of one of its drones here, ground robotics and payload systems. So this is really good. Remember, as far as the long-term thesis here, one of the big things that, like, it's great that we get PRs and all of that, but one of the big things that I have said specifically I want to see continuing to happen here, more orders, more revenue. I want to see PRs about orders, new contracts, all of that stuff is good. And then I want to see that bleed down through the bottom line here. It looks like we're getting step 1 here. Order demonstrates breadth of Ondas's multi-domain capabilities following the recent acquisition of Apiro and the integration of its portfolio of anonymous combat-proven ground robotics. Okay, so 3.5 million. That's not a huge order from a major defense industry, but we got to start somewhere, right? Got to crawl before you can walk. The contract includes a purchase of multiple units for security, logistics, and tactical operations. I just want to see here if there's anything else in this that might be worth noting. No, but this pretty straightforward here. Definitely positive news. Let's see if this actually kicks it up a little bit here. Again, just another reminder here about the move that we've actually made on this stock recently. Been pretty huge, pretty quick. So a little bit of a pullback here. Probably not the end of the world. It does look like in the near term, really kind of flirting with this 685. So if we bust above that, I think 7 is probably on deck here. Again, I actually added calls on this. And those calls are rocking here. So my next sale of common stock, not till $10. I'm perfectly good. I've already sold a whole bunch. I'm perfectly good sitting on the rest of them. The stock trades up to 8 or 9 and maybe looks a little bit toppy there. Then maybe we'll offload some of those calls. Those calls, by the way, have an expiry for January. Those are the Jan 10 calls. So for the next 3 months here, I can actually kind of trade around my core position by utilizing some of those options. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and bring him on. Let's see how he's doing here today. 13, good morning. Happy Monday. How are you doing here today?
Oh, sorry. I'm just still trying to figure out some of these movers that we got here. Hey, we've got multiple 100% plus movers this morning. How's everybody this morning? How was your weekend? Hope you had a great time. What are we doing? What are we
Yeah.
looking at?
Well, first of all, we're doing it all, 13. My weekend was great. It is a victory Monday for me here
Oh, that's
today.
right.
I'm
Congratulations.
not sure how many of these I'm going to get. So I'm just going to make sure that I am riding high all day. Look, you said it last week. We had a crazy week last week. It was really good. We finished it off strong. And now here we are coming back on Monday to start to pick up where we left off. So with that in mind here, let's take a look at some of these movers. Whatever extra time we have, we can break down any stocks that you folks want to take a look at there. Okay. First one, do you have any on your list, or should I go in order here? What order should we attack these today?
Yeah, I started with BOXL first,
Perfect.
and I went to QLGN and AGRI.
Okay, so right off the bat here, in the pre-market, using the movers tool, which eliminates penny stocks, at least on my end here, I see 4 100+% runners here this morning. Now, we'll see how this all shakes out when we get into the regular session, but we've been talking about this recently, and it's notable. We've got 4 of them here today. The first one, BOXL, closed at 156 on Friday and is 782 here today. That's ticker BOXL. The name of the company is Boxlight. I don't see any news on this. Looks like we have an SEC statement from Friday afternoon. If you went through that, you'll have to let us know. But otherwise, I don't see any news here. We are holding higher by about 400%. A quick look at the short interest shows us that we don't have a whole lot of it. Only 1.32% of the float shorted with 2.87 days to cover. And that comes on an average volume that's just about 750,000 shares. 740,000 shares by on its 100-day average. Today we've traded over 81 million. The float here, right in that zone that we love, 2.5 mil.
1065 is next. Sorry to interrupt you. It's just moving right now, and
you didn't even interrupt me. It was really good timing, in fact.
1065 is the next level I've got marked off. That's the price that we ran to back in the beginning of the year. I didn't look to see what the news was at the beginning of the year, but the news that we had recently, it's not running on this, but the news we had recently is that they filed a Form 8 that indicated they picked up a new accounting firm. Don't really think it's moving on that. They had news earlier in the week, last week, that they are starting to ship Google EDLA certified CleverTouch Pro Series to schools in North America. That's the last big move that we got. That was on Tuesday the 16th. And that's and it's not moving on any news here today, but I think because a lot of people took notice of it and that it has a low float of 2.5 million, they started hitting this. Now it also has it doesn't have any short interest, but they don't have any much cash. They have about a quarter's worth of cash left. So this is going to be on the lookout for a potential capital raise. They are trying to regain compliance. I don't think they've done that yet. So that might be one of the reasons why it's moving off of the Form 8, because they are taking the steps to regain compliance. But as far as the technicals go, this is really taking a big move up. We've already passed beyond the pre-market high that we had earlier, which was 762. We're now in the 8 handle, and the next level that I have as far as resistance goes is going to be that 1065 level, where we had at the beginning of the year that took us all the way up to 1065, like I said. So that's all I've got for now on BOXL. If it goes any higher than this, then we have levels we can start looking at to go back to 2023. We can start looking at for areas of resistance.
Okay, really good stuff. Yes, no, you said you didn't have a lot there, but that's plenty. One thing to add here real quick, it certainly looks like the $4 and the $7 level were kind of like these round areas that the stock was trying to get through. I know this did trade up to like 7 and change on the impulse move, but it really looks like it started to accelerate both when it broke 4 and when it broke 7. Those were previous highs in the pre-market. So we'll see here on BOXL. Really good stuff. Really good stuff on that breakdown. We'll see what we get here. Next one on the list, QLGN. And I feel like we've traded this one before. This actually had a piece of news here this morning. Qualigen Therapeutics is the name of this company. Again, ticker's QLGN. I hope I don't misread that as an O here. On Sunday, we had some news here that Faraday Future, who we just talked to last week, how about that? Faraday
They didn't
Future.
say this. They didn't say anything about this.
Hey, look, I told you, I told you, if I had known to ask, if I had inside information, I would have asked, but that's not how this whole thing works here. Faraday Future announces a total strategic investment of $41 million in Qualigen Therapeutics. During its annual 919 event for its crypto business, focusing on 3 growth engines here. So the stock in question, QLGN, the stock is up almost 200%. It is really quickly worth noting. Here's FFAI. This is down about 0.5% on the back of this news. We'll see how this shakes out with both of these stocks here today. But let's go back to QLGN. All right, let me do a quick look around the horn on this one. 2.03% of its float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume of 984,000. Today we've traded 34, just shy of 35 million. Float on this is 1.7 million, so 13. What do you think here on QLGN?
Who was it you interviewed from Faraday Future?
His name is Jerry Wang, the CEO.
Okay, so he's going to end up being co-CEO of QLGN. That's what I'm seeing here as far as the headlines go. At deal close, YT Jaya's to be chief advisor, Jerry Wang co-CEO, Cody Mecca CFO of QLGN. So guess we'll have to have him back and ask him about that. But as far as this goes, this is a I don't know if this is going to cause share dilution or what, but they don't have a lot of cash, so they're going to need it. Now I don't know if this is going to immediately raise capital for them because I didn't have enough time to go look through this. They do have a filing out to raise to offer more shares, so a little concerned about this one potentially making an offering as early as today. Oops, let me go back to QLGN here. And looking at the chart, it looks like we are trying to find some support at the $8 level. We have been testing that all morning. And if we can hold above it, then we'll I would look for maybe even wait until the open, look for a reversal, start recapturing the 65 EMA. But right now, it kind of looks like it's trading down into a descending triangle. So this is going to be one that I would wait to for the open for, see what it ends up doing. We don't want to lose this 8 to 810. I think it's 810. I'd keep an eye on because if we do, then I think we're going to fall down towards 765, even lower to 725. So that's just kind of where I'm at with QLGN. It looks a little bearish. I think I'd wait for the open to see what it ends up doing and wait for a bottom.
I think I agree with every one of those targets that you just gave. They are very, very clear off the chart here. I'd say honorable mention for 630. If it overshoots some of those to the downside, maybe it finds some support at that 200 EMA. There were a couple of the movers last week that did that. Once it does that, we're not out of the woods yet. We'll see if there's an upside trade there. But okay, really good breakdown there. QLGN. Next here is going to be another one that we've talked about quite a bit before. This is Agri, ticker AGRI, Agriforce Growing Systems, and this stock is up 200%. This thing was actually above $11 earlier in the pre-market. We've come back in now. We're flirting right with the VWAP, so we'll see if we can get above that and maybe build. Agriforce Growing Systems to launch a first publicly traded avalanche-focused company on NASDAQ with a $550 million capital raise strategy. That's what's going on here. They announced a $292 million private placement for AVAX as well. Was that from last week? No, that's just more of this news here. That coming from the partner link there. Quick look around the horn on this one. 17.86% of its float shorted. Oh, come on. Click the wrong thing. Come on. With 1 day to cover, that comes on an average value of average volume of 520,000 shares per day. Today we've traded over 50 million. Float here is 1.3. What do you think?
I think we have another crypto mover on our hands. This company doesn't have cash, so they are definitely going to need it. I don't know when this goes through. I didn't look too much into that. Just Another crypto name. We know this company. Sounds great. They're going to end up with a lot of cash, but I didn't look into how all that's going to work out, where they raise that money. So unfortunately, I don't have more information for you on that. They do have 1.3 million shares in the float. The stock is currently trying to recover the VWAP in the pre-market right now. If it does, the 850 area is going to be the next area of resistance, followed by $10, and then the pre-market high of 1136. So this one trying to turn around here. Also has some short interest, 17% of the float shorted, only 1 day to cover though. So we might see that affect the stock price minimally, since it might not have the follow through. So we'll see what we end up getting here with AGRI, but just keep in mind this thing is going to probably have to dilute shares in order to raise the cap. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how this 550 million capital raise is going to work. They did say that they have 292 is going to be private placement. So what's the other 250 going to be? That's my question, and I didn't have enough time to look into that. So maybe if this is interesting to you, you could look into that for yourself. But for now, the levels that I provided are the ones I'd be looking at. Need to see that recapture VWAP. We're dealing with it right now.
Yep, we are right there. We will see. Also, by the way, I didn't mention this, but that QLGN, I agree with your assessment. I think that we are likely to see a capital raise really, really quickly, as soon as today, frankly. So that was the last one that we took.
So be careful with these, because they get us all gassed up and excited because they're going to be doing some kind of crypto treasury, and they say, oh, we have these multi-million, hundreds of millions in private placement and this and that. Well, in the meantime, they could just throw it at the money or at the market offer and raise capital. So just keep in mind that let's not magpie our way into these things and treat these with some thought.
Okay. Good stuff there, 13. Next here on the list is going to be MBX. This is MBX Biosciences, and this is trading higher after the company announced a once-weekly canvuparatide achieved the primary endpoint in a phase 2 trial. So that's the word that I could just completely butchered there. That's just the name of one of its drugs. But we're getting some good data there that it achieved its primary endpoint in the phase 2 trial. Phase 3, I believe, would be next here. Stock is actually up 138%. You can see we actually traded up a little bit on Friday. Had a little bit of a dip and rip today. And when I mean a little bit, I mean a huge rip to the upside. A little bit of a dip and a huge rip to the upside. Does look like this 27 area, maybe 2750, represents some resistance. We're pretty extended here from the VWAP. As far as a trade goes, I'd probably wait for this to maybe retest some of those support levels. I'm sure 13 is going to take a look at some of them here for you. Short interest on this name, it's whopping, and it might be accounting for some of the move here today. 22.89% of the float shorted with 16 plus days to cover. That comes on an average volume of just under 500,000 shares, 441,000 to be exact. Today, we've traded 10.5 million. Float on this is a little bit higher at just about 17 million, 16.8 million. It does have some analyst coverage, and now we have some really good news here. So 13, what do you think here on MBX? Do you think this is any squeeze action going on?
Maybe. I can tell you that my broker chart, the chart I have here, my broker says that the all-time high is 2750. We're not too far away from that. As a matter of fact, we blew past it in the pre-market here and with the initial impulse move that took us up to 2819. And we are trying to get back up there right now. There is some resistance that appears, it looks like, around 26 to 2650. MACD is kind of indicating that this is starting to roll over, so I think I'd be a little bit patient with this one, see what ends up happening here. I don't want to, start buying up here and then have this thing roll over out of the open and completely go south on us. So I think I'd be cautious with this one. Yeah, you're right about the phase 2. I just took a look at their website. It doesn't look like they have this going through any other secondary trials like a 2A or 2B. So it would seem like the next logical step for this one is going to be the phase 3, and that's going to require a lot of cash. And speaking of which, they have 39 million in the bank. They chew through anywhere between 15 to 23 million a quarter. Last quarter there was 19 million that they lost. No revenue. So it's going to look like they're going to have to raise capital. I can't say exactly when. Could be today, could be later on. But this is really giving a lift to their stock. So it could be as early as today. And then you also pointed out the short interest. That's certainly giving it a lift. That's kind of where I'm at with MBX. Just let's see what we end up getting out of the open here, because this one looks like it's getting pretty close to rolling over before we open.
Okay. And frankly, a rollover might actually set up a trade here if it comes into one of those levels a little bit extended here today. Gonzo here. Good morning. Happy first day of fall.
Hey.
As I understand it, today is the autumnal equinox, right? Where there is equal amounts of light and dark today. So happy fall. This is my favorite season. We'll take that. But you also asked, did y'all have coffee yet? And I am here to remind you that, yes, this entire group runs on coffee. My first cup starts at 4:45. Michelle, I live in the central time zone, so that's 5:45 Eastern. But that's how I get started for my day. We are big coffee fans here. You are absolutely going to find fellow coffee fans here. Okay, let me keep moving. Looks like we also got some news on TEM. Don't worry, we will cover that. I just want to knock out a couple more of these really big movers. FLGC, this is another one that is still holding higher by 100% here. 100%. Reported Friday, Flora Growth to rebrand as Zero Stack after a $400 million raise anchored by 22.88 million DeFi development investment. Okay. This thing did pop on Friday, but it really got going here today. This thing has prints up around $95, backed off that by a cool 40 bones right now. We're actually beneath the VWAP. First thing that I'm going to say on this without diving into this anymore, be very, very, very careful with this one here today. Make sure that you don't put yourself in a spot where you cannot control your own risk. That is going to be the most important equation here in any type of trade on this today. Quick look at the short interest here. 1.31% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume. This thing, one of the biggest ghost towns we've ever seen. On average, stock trades 12,500 shares per day. That's it. 12,000, and its float is 506,000. This thing is an absolute micro float, which explains that huge movement. But 13, what do you got here on ticker FLGC?
Well, it looks like they do have some revenue, so that's a good sign. Balance sheet looks like they could use some more cash, but it's not bad looking. Just like to see them, move more towards profitability, and this would be fine. Another crypto name. I can't really tell you how far this is going to go, where it's going to go, but all I can provide is some levels. And right now, we are seeing that the MACD is indicating that it's just trying to curl back up and recapture VWAP. And if it does, I think 68, somewhere in the 68 handle, like 68.20, might be the spot where this goes to next if it recaptures VWAP. And if it can continue, $75 will be the next spot after that. Now, this thing has run up as high as 96.76. Certainly looks like $85 had something to do with that area, as we have no closes above that, despite our high prints. So even if this does get going here, which I'm not sure it's going to do, I would keep an eye on those two levels first before we start getting into these higher ones. Don't have anything as far as short interest goes. Float is 506,000 shares. So this can, it can move really, really quickly, really easily. But let's not buy tops here. So I think when it comes to this one, if this is going to be something you're willing to trade or want to trade, your opportunity is probably leaving the station. But I don't like the volume right now. So this looks like this carries a lot of risk at the moment. So trade it how you want. But I think this is probably going to be something we have to wait for after the open.
Yeah, I would be very, very careful with this one. Really good breakdown there, 13, FLGC. Okay, first of all, did you have anything else on your list that maybe we should cover?
No, I did not.
Okay, I'm just looking at the movers list here. I definitely want to cover TEM. We can do that here in a sec. I don't think that's a rush. This PLTS, Platinum Analytics Cayman, this has me worried here. We had prints above 50, and this thing came all the way back into 13. We didn't have any news on this. I don't know what's going on with this one. I would say if anyone else knows anything about this, it's a software developer specializing in providing FX trading software development solutions, data analytics solutions, and technology development solutions to financial institutions. Where does this operate?
Yeah, if it's in the Cayman Islands, and I think
Yeah.
this looks like it is a China name.
Yeah, it looks like that. I don't see anything in the description here. Let me check the company website real quick and see if we get anything from that.
Because I'm seeing a lot of information in this form.
It's in Singapore. So its street address here is in Singapore. So there we go. Okay, that's basically all I needed to know on this. This looks like a new issue. One of the things that I would do is I would kind of wait this out a little bit. I do have a float rating here of about 9.5 million. On average, stock trades 5.2 million per day. Today, it's traded 2.3. I don't have any short interest read on this. 13, do you have anything on this? Totally understandable if you don't.
This says here in their form 424B4 that Platinum Analytics Cayman Limited is a holding company incorporated under the laws of the Cayman Islands. As a holding company, the company conducted all of its operations through its subsidiaries in Singapore and Hong Kong, and incurred general and administrative expenses in mainland China until January 2025, when it disposed both its Hong Kong and mainland China subsidiaries for avoidance of doubt. Blah 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 blah. This is going to take forever. I don't know about this one. I don't know if this is still operating in Singapore or whatever. This is also a new issue. Let me look at the chart, see if I can get anything out of this, because I'm already not liking the way this looks. I think this is going to get a lot of people hurt if we try this. But let's see what we see here. So this thing went all the way up to what, 51.19. It's now trading at 13.21. Starting to curl and recapture at 65 EMA, and if it does, the VWAP that I'd be looking at next is going to be up at 1666. Seems like it's having trouble recapturing the 1550 area. We have 2 trades above that ever since we lost that level, but no recaptures. So that's another level to watch for on the way up to the VWAP. But yeah, I don't know about this one. I don't have enough information on it. I'd have to read completely through those forms I was just reading out loud to you. I don't know about this one. There might be something better to look at, but if you want to try and take a stab at this, don't let me stop you, but just understand the risks here, because it seems that this comes with plenty.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Next one on the list here is MTSR. Now, this is not MicroStrategy. This is Metsera here. Metsera shares trading higher in a report that Pfizer is near a deal to acquire the company and its next generation obesity and cardiometabolic disease. So this one here, this seems like a takeover. I know they're saying they're nearing a deal. I think most of the movement is probably done here. This is not on my list. 13, if you go through something and you think there's a trade here, I'm open to listening to that. But I basically took a cursory glance at this and moved on. So I'm just mentioning why it's up here for you. Why it's up here for you folks here. There are a couple of stocks from the chat here that you folks want to take a look at. First one here was ARBE, and this one is ARB Robotics. The reason this I think is important is because we saw a big move in RR, Rich Tech Robotics, last week. We also saw Serve moving last week. Now we have another robotic stock. This is moving here on volume today. This was about $1.75. That was actually higher in the pre-market. We took a big run here above 2. I don't see any fresh news on this, so maybe this is just some pre-positioning into some type of robotics theme that we're unaware of, but worth mentioning just because of what we saw from RR last week. We take a look at the short interest here, 4.59% of the float shorted with 3.27 days to cover. The average volume here is 1.42 million shares today. We're already above that in the pre-market at 2.3 million. Float much thicker on this one at 84.5 million. 13, I know this doesn't really have anything, so you may not have anything else on this, but do you?
So this looks like it's in the autonomous driving space. That's pretty clear, but it looks like it's the only thing that they really do, or just design and provide research data for imaging and radar chips for autonomous vehicles. So I don't know how much exactly is here. 84 million shares in the float. How much cash do they have? They lose 10 million a quarter at least. They just had their best quarter, and they lost the least they have in some time. 6.6 million in the bank. They're gonna have to raise, I think. I don't know enough about this company, but it looks like it's just one of those technology stocks that kind of supplements different parts of the autonomous driving industry as far as software and radar imaging goes. But beyond that, I don't see a whole lot here. So I don't know enough about this company. It's certainly moving, but this company needs cash. Let's look at the technicals that we've got going on here. Okay, so we're back into this area from the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I really think 250 is your next really sticky resistance area, and I don't think that's a spot. I think that's an area.
Yeah, I think all this price action from the end of, actually just from the beginning of this year, just in January and February, are what we're going to want to look at for levels here, because that's really all. We haven't been up here since at this price since the beginning of the year, where all these bag holders are. So I'm sure there's going to be some unloading, especially as soon as we get more towards. I think you said 250, right?
Yeah, 250 is what it looks like from the daily.
Yep. Yeah. I think that area is pretty good for sellers to be hanging out at and holding the bag. It seems like
here you go, Zach. I don't mean to call Zach out, but he offered the information. I'm a bag holder at 250.
Okay,
but we'll keep it for profit. Zach, I guess. So if we traded back up to 250, would you not do the Mark Petrino thing where you're like, I can get out of it at break even, I just want to move on? Are you actually going to wait until you're in the green on this? Long-term play. Systems are great. There you go.
Well, it looks like $2 is a pretty good support area if we come back down there. But yeah, I agree that with this, and it looks like it's going to start a little bit earlier than 250, like maybe 225, 230, before it really starts to get into where the thick of the bag holders are, and that could be all the way up into 3 before we start seeing the price move a little bit better. But maybe it chews through all of them really quick. I don't know. We'll have to watch SHAR level 2 and see what that tells us. But for now, I think that range right in there, 225 to 3, let's say 330. That's about where the thick of the bag holders are.
Okay, we'll see what happens at this area. We are there right now. Zach says this is going 4+, unfazed by that. Zach, appreciate your insight on this. We'll see what happens at the resistance area that 13 just outlined. Okay, the other one that the chat was talking about here was LASE. This is a show favorite at this point. We trade this often. Ticker LASE is, of course, Laser Photonics. The stock was about 420 this morning. Put the pot leaf in the air for wisdom. See if he shows up. Stock is actually at $5 here. Was above 6 earlier. Laser Photonics secures a multi-system order for top global semiconductor capital equipment company. Expands into a $1 trillion market. So that's, I think, where you're getting some of this pop from. This does seem good. I guess we should see if the contract has anything in here. Nope, really kind of no numbers other than talking to you about what the market size is. Would like to see a little bit more clarity on all of that. But nonetheless, here, 5.77% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. That comes on an average volume here of 5.07 million shares. Today, we've traded 2.2 already. Float on this one just shy of 10, so it's still a low floater here, 9.689 million shares. What do you think on this one, 13?
Well, the nice thing about this is that because we traded this last week, I still have all my levels from last week left. The next one that we're going to want to see get cleared here is going to be VWAP, and then we have the 530 level after that. That's kind of close to the initial impulse move we got at 755. It took us up to 528 before we backed off briefly, and then rocketed all the way up to 601. But from 530, we have the 555 resistance area and the 590 resistance area, and then of course the $601 high that we hit in the pre-market. If we manage to take that out in the regular session, we still have levels that go beyond 650. So we can get into that once we get up there. But for now, VWAP and 530 are the next resistance levels in this. And we already know about this company, so I don't think I need to spend a whole lot of time going over this. But this is the one last week. This is the one last week that had the anti-drone laser neutralization system that we were talking about. We thought was pretty cool. So
and actually it does look like that $6 area that you referenced there on that rocket up. This is now going to be a double top here as we made a high similar to that in the regular session on Thursday of last week.
Or it could be a potential cup with handle. We just have to wait and see what we end up getting here.
Sure. Okay. A really quick honorable mention, AIIO. This is one of the big movers from last week. This did kind of come back in a little bit. It's perking a little bit on very low volume here in the pre-market, but maybe keep it on the back burner there. BKKT, this is another stock that we've traded a number of times before. I believe this was a crypto holdings company. This looks like it made a move towards 18 and backed off a little bit there. They appoint Mike Alfred to the board of directors to accelerate their growth strategy here. And just really quickly, let me just make sure I'm not confusing this. Yeah, operates a technology that connects the digital economy by offering a platform for crypto and redemption of loyalty points. Okay, perfect. All right. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover here off of this list? I do want to get to the TEM news.
Let's get to the TEM news. Let's give the people what they want.
Yeah, and then we can come back here as well if we want to talk about some of these other stocks that are moving. But let's start here with TEM. All right, TEM up by just about 7% here in the pre-market. We're going to start on the daily and work backwards now. This move here today takes us above the trend line. I think that's going to be one of your keys here. Do we close above the trend line current price? 94 and change. We are above that. Looks like a breakout, also a breakout of the all-time high that this stock put in early February of this year. Let's take a look at the news on this. Receives FDA 510 clearance for Tempus XR-IVD. It's RNA NGS in vitro diagnostic device. So there you go. FDA approval there. That's what's sending this higher by about 6.66%. A quick look at the short interest on this. Definitely notable. 18.96% of the float shorted with 2.17 days to cover, so that we are approaching high short interest on the percent of float short and about middle of the road there on the days to cover. On average, stock trades just shy of 10 million shares today. In the pre-market, we've traded 1.16. Float on this pretty thick at 128.3 million. 13, what do you think here on ticker TEM? What do you think of this trend line break?
Can the trend line break, getting a break from the high from February as well? Look at my broker chart because I'm just looking at my Benzinga drawings. Looks like it's putting in a bit of a bullish, like a bull pennant, but I'm not liking the way the MACD is looking at the moment. So let's see, we've got 9 minutes left before we open. This may consolidate up here. I think that's the next thing I'd be watching for with TEM. If we can get a consolidation that into the open, and then that allows us to take it higher. But I think I'd wait for the open on this one. I'm not sure about the volume. Not sure about the MACD. I think I'd wait. Just that's just me. 93 looks like an interesting support area if we come right back down to there before we open. So I think I'd keep an eye on that $93 level and VWAP.
Okay.
Beyond that, if we start going south, we're going to have to lean on Friday's highs as the next area of support.
Okay. We'll see what we get here in ticker TEMJ with some sage-like life advice for all of us. Just kind of a reminder. Tem, Avago, and PanW. Don't short Pelosi. You get your face ripped off. Good stuff there, Jay. All right, what other stocks do you folks, want to take a look at? Super Mario asking here about QMCO. I don't know if there's anything going on, but it just jumped out from the chat, so we'll take a look at it. This is going to be one of our quantum names. Remember, quantum's really been moving, but this thing has been lagging behind Rigetti Spaghetti and IONQ. I know we got news here from QBTS basically being worthless and a fraud from Shkreli. I don't know if that's playing into what's going on here, but here's QMCO in the pre-market. Looks like we did test 14. Let's see if there's any news on this. Got nothing here. There's some lawsuit that was filed here. I, generally speaking, just kind of ignore those. No fresh news otherwise on this name. 11.9% of the float shorted with 3.3 days to cover. Stock trades 1.1 million shares on average. We're above that, well above that already here at 1.63 million. Float on this is 13 million. 13, do you have anything here on QMCO? I know it's really, really light here. And data management solutions.
I feel like we've traded this before.
We have. We have. I just don't know if there's anything new on this.
Yeah, I don't see anything that's really. I mean, they just had earnings earlier this month, and they They guided. Looks like they guided higher on sales. They, I guess their EPS is kind of like in the. I don't know. It's not really the best. It's a hey, we might lose this. We might lose less this in Q2. So yeah, I don't know about the earnings as far as the chart goes. This thing's kind of been leaning on Friday's high as support in the pre-market here. So I think if we lose that, it's just gonna we're gonna have to look at where it got support in the pre-market earlier this morning around 750 down at that 1220 area, which is also kind of where the Friday highs were, or the market was kind of topping, or not the market, but the stock was topping out at and going sideways in the end of the day. So those are the two levels I would look for as far as support goes. There's also a trend line you can draw with this from the pre-market price action, starting at that 1393 high, drawing it through the attempt to move over 1350 earlier. You got it, yeah. So that would be the next.
Also, really quickly, just in case, I actually see an upside trend line the other direction here from the high that we made in the session on Friday. So I'm going to leave that there. We'll see if either of these get tested, but that's good stuff, 13. Okay, that is QMCO. Mark here saying there's no new quantum news worth anything right now. Remember, Mark, going to be one of our resident quantum experts. Can I even say that if you're working on a quantum project? Pretty good stuff. The other stock that you folks want to take a look at here is IREN. Here's what it looks like intraday. We are up 9% here. This is what it looks like on the daily, and whew, that is a good recent move here. Now, IREN actually has some news here today. IREN shares are trading higher after the company announced it has doubled its AI cloud capacity to 23,000 GPUs, following the procurement of an additional 12.4 thousand GPUs. So more positive news, more AI cloud capacity, IREN going north, breaking the $40 barrier here. Looks pretty good here so far. 10.75% of the float shorted here today with 1 day to cover. Comes on an average volume of about 30 million shares. We've already done 5.2 here in the pre-market. Float on this one, the biggest of all of the stocks that we've looked at, 262 million shares in the float. You have anything here on IREN 13?
So we're in blue sky territory.
Indeed we are.
I don't know where this party ends. We are over 80 RSI in the pre-market here. It's only going to get higher if we can continue to move up. It looks like $40 is your support area on the way back down if we end up seeing that happen. That's on the daily chart. You might have some actually no, that seems like that's the big support area even on the smaller time frames. But we do need to hold above VWAP, and we are pretty close to that. So we'll see if we can hold up VWAP or not. I'm not sure about where this goes. Maybe it continues to climb into blue sky territory. But I don't know that I'd necessarily be a buyer up here where it's making breakout all-time highs and has an RSI over 80. This kind of feels extremely risky buying it up here.
Okay, Lion giving it a $45 target. Okay, we're going to open here in 3 minutes. I'm going to flip over to my main workspace, but really quickly here, Jag, otherwise known as Just a Guy. Any news on which company might be taking on TikTok? And as a matter of fact, yes, in the A segment here today, I actually broke that down. That link to the article here is in the chat, but I'll summarize it for you here briefly. On Sunday, President Trump said media mogul Lachlan Murdoch and tech leaders Oracle's Larry Ellison and Dell Technologies' Michael Dell will take part as investors in a proposed deal to transfer TikTok's U.S. operations from Chinese parent ByteDance to American ownership. There's some more details on this in the article, as well as some threads that you can go down. I did throw that there in the chat. Good question. That was from our earlier news dump. All right, let's flip over to the main. Yeah, get in there.
Look at IREN now. There we go.
Let me bring it on screen here, as Picard used to say.
Let's see that $40 support.
Boom.
Let's see that $40 support.
You're welcome, Jag. And producer here, fun fact, a friend of a friend, we all know how close those connections are. A friend of a friend was a regular extra on the TV show, Jag. Shout out to my old man, who actually really liked that TV show.
Yep.
I don't remember much of it, but... Sorry, 13? Sorry,
our grandparents liked that, too. That was one of their shows.
We're in good company then. MBIS, by the way, looks like this is ripping a little bit right before the open here.
That they had news I thought I saw, and I was like, why isn't this?
Well,
moving?
here, Tennis is Life saying that IREN is an NBIS sympathy play. Now, I don't see anything here fresh for NBIS, but perhaps this is moving on the back of that IREN news.
Yeah, I was, when I wake up and I, start getting ready for my day, I usually have the news on my phone open. I could have sworn I saw something about NBIS, and I can't for the life of me remember which big company they were working with. That was stated in the news, but yeah, I thought it might have been like Microsoft or something. Oh, okay, no, there it is. This is old news, but I don't think that was what I saw. Anyway, it's moving right now. Let's look and see where we have some levels. NBIS.
Okay, I'm going to throw AGRI or QLGN. I'm going to throw QGLN on here right when we open though 13. I'm going to go to the washroom, so I'm just going to leave this chart up here real quick. We should be good to go. Everything looks good around the horn. Let's have a great Monday. Happy Victory Monday out there to you folks. Let's get this thing rolling.
All right. I guess we're in blue sky territory for NBIS as well, and we're open. All right. So here we go with BOXL. This is opening sideways. Where does this go? And QLGN, that's trying to get some support. Had a little bit of a pop into the just before we opened, but didn't go too much of anywhere. Now it looks like it's trying to get going here. We'll see if it can recapture VWAP and the 65 EMA and make its move up towards the next resistance area. It looks to be about, we want to see 12, but looks like 950, 955 has been giving the price action some trouble. So we'll see if we end up getting anything from that. All right, so BOXL having a nice lift out of the gate here, coming up to one of the earlier resistance areas of 645. Look at that move, right to 645, pushing through it, getting a little bit of sellers to come on in here. Nice price action. What do you guys think? I'll get to Snap in a little bit. Let me just wait for Ryan to come back. We're going to trade some of these movers, but I will get to Snap. Don't you worry. So Boxall looking like it's getting some resistance from that resistance area that we talked about, that level I mentioned. So far so good with that. We want to see it push higher into that and go up to 762, which was the pre-market high before we got that impulse move to 866. We're looking at BOXL right now. This is some great movement out of the gate here. But just be careful, because if we do get resistance at that 762 area, this could turn bearish on us. So we want to see this 762 area get absolutely taken out. We want to continue to move higher, taking out that 866 high as well. And there's even a trend line we could draw from the two pre-market highs of where this could end up going.
On it.
So if we do that, that takes us at, if we're in this current candle and we get that move immediately, that resistance could be at about 935, 940. So just something to watch for if that ends up happening. But we got to get above 762 first.
Okay. Really good breakdown there, BOXL. I'm just going to run through the list here. HOUS, Anywhere Real Estate. This actually looking like this might take out the $12 high that it has there, resistance area there.
QLGN, ugly knife. Same thing with ARBE. Both of those, actually ARBE, right back down to the very, very start of the impulse move. So that gave everything back. It's getting some support from the 65 EMA. So we'll see if that ends up holding. But ugly knife and ARBE.
Oh my God, look at that.
Yep. AGRI, on the other hand, this sold out of the gate, got some support near the 65 EMA. It's trying to recapture the VWAP right now. And if it does, 850 is the next level we're going to be looking at, that the price to take out. So maybe that one gets going here as well.
Notable move out of the open here as Apple 250 being tested here straight up on the back of that demand. Remember, $310 price target from Wedbush's Dan Ives on the back of that demand. A lot of that coming from China and India, which was supposed to underperform. Yeah, get in there.
TEM session high of 96.90. Also, we have to look at what's that one? Snap when we have a moment.
Okay, yeah, we can do that right now if you want.
Okay, I just didn't want to. LASE, this is starting to get some more movement. We're moving over the VWAP, and we're getting up to the 530 resistance area we mentioned earlier. So a little bit of volume there. If we get through 530, 555 is next. Sorry, this is kind of, I was like waiting to get to some of those names. We have
quite all right.
A lot less to look at. You know what I mean? Boxel. Okay, so here we go with what I was concerned about. We might get a bit of a bearish pattern.
LASC, that you're not kidding about that. That's a good move right above the VWAP. That actually might have been a tradable setup. I feel a little bit late to this, but 13, that real good mention. I couldn't get it up fast enough. The chart. Come on. Jesus.
My mind is gross sometimes. But anyway, LASC, this is 530 that it's trying to recapture, and 555 is next if it can continue here. It looks like the MACD is curling a little bit here, so this may get going. We just got to hold above this 530 level right now in order to keep going here. ARBE still hasn't turned around yet. TEM, this thing right back up to the highs of the session. 97.16 is the high. QMCO, that just had an ugly drop down to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. It looks like IREN is still trying to get turned around here. It just went down to 65 EMA and reversed above the VWAP now. Needs to continue, but I need to see better volume in this one, or else we're not going to be able to get through all that pre-market consolidation, that sideways price action that we saw there. NBIS, by the way, popped up to 102.80 just as we opened, and now it's giving some of that back. Kind of beneath the VWAP right now. Got some support at the 90. Looks like we could even say the $100 level is a good support area for NBIS.
Okay, real quick here.
Sorry.
This popped out of the open there and came back in. Trout Bump said HIMS, Ryan. No. Ryan, they have pharmaceuticals for those. Oh God, you guys are all just joking about that. I see. And now I understand. See what we did? We inadvertently walked down the path of jokes right there.
Boxel, right back up to that 762 level. So here we go. We got to get through this, or else we could get this pattern to turn bearish on us. Tesla's pumping. A couple of folks are saying.
Yeah, Tesla is actually, so Apple here, more repeat call flows. Tesla also had call flows out of the open. I noticed that right when we took a look at Apple. Tesla doing the same thing now, 437. One thing to note here, over the weekend, there was the remembrance for Charlie Kirk on Sunday, and at that, Trump and Musk were seen sitting next to each other, having a very pleasant conversation, and I'm sure inferences are being drawn from that. Seems to be affecting Tesla to the positive side here today. 438.50 for Tesla, as that is just straight up out of the open here today.
Boxel trying to take out the 750 seller, having a hard time. We really need to get above this 762 level. Because I do believe that if we cannot, this is going to turn bearish on us, and we could then lose the VWAP. So just keep in mind with that on Boxel. Izzy, as far as Snap goes, this is trying to recapture the 200-day SMA. I have that value at 927. So we've been hitting it a couple of times this morning. This is an area where the price frequently gets rejected. It has been since late last year, October. Ever since we lost this level back in July of last year, it has not been able to recapture the 200-day SMA. Had multiple attempts going into this year. Haven't really been seeing a whole lot of price action since then, but we did get a little bit of a test in July. That didn't work out either. Here we are coming back up to the 200-day SMA. So really need to get above that, or else this is going to continue to be the site of rejection. We are also a little bit extended here with Snap. We have a over 71 RSI. So it wouldn't be surprising to me if this did get rejected here again, maybe with some slightly higher than the 200 SMA prints, but ultimately it comes back down. So until we can start closing consistently over the 200-day SMA and maybe even recapture that $10 level, I think the 200-day SMA is going to continue to provide resistance.
Yeah, the other thing here, we do have a gap fill up here at 942. I'd be entirely unsurprised if they actually just kind of filled that gap. This is what the Snap chart looks like. I'll be honest, I've never really had a good luck trading this stock. Just been one of those that kind of eluded me. Yeah, and I was just going to say some congratulations to one of our chat members here. Congratulations, Barry the Great, whose daughter is also great. My daughter just got her results and passed the bar.
Congratulations.
All right, Barry. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that sure is. We celebrate all types of positivity here. Congrats, Barry.
You know what? Today, let's hit a like for Barry and his daughter.
Let's do it. Smash up the like for Barry and his daughter. Working hard. Very huge life and professional milestone. Spread that love around here, folks. BETR, Better Homes and Finance. Izzy, you're saying that this is halted on a Jackson?
Sorry to interrupt you. We're getting a lot of pull in all these names. Everything seems to be pulling back. Sorry,
okay. It's okay.
It just I was looking around and everything was pulling at the same time. I didn't know if there was news coming out, but everything looked like they just got a recoil.
Okay.
What's happening here?
AGRI looks like this pushed a little bit. It is still holding above that VWAP on a little bit of the pull. This actually looks like it might try and go higher here. Jane, sounds like you already got a trade on that. Awesome. Yes, David, we do not, we are not legal counsel. We do not take law classes. We do not pass those bars. You're correct on that. Good morning, Jay Wild. Great to see you.
All right.
Webcoin says he passed the bar on the way home.
I know. I passed lots of bars. I have beer at home. All right. So BOXL, we did get above that 762 level. Sorry. Now we're going to be using it as support. So we want to see this hold above that 762 level here. And if it does, we can move up towards that trend line that we drew earlier. That'd be the best case scenario. LASE, that did have a pullback here down to the 530 area. It's getting support from that level. And there is a big seller in the way at 550. So we just need to see some volume expansion to get through that seller.
Okay.
And get back above the 555 level on our way up to 6.
Seeing some more TEM calls get bought here. These are the 115s. Looks like there was a pretty good block of those. That looks like an upside bet. Expiry there this week. So that is an upside bet on this week here. Big Dave wants to take a look at Intel. That made some news last week. Let's take a look and see where we're at here. Ticker INTC Intel. Looks like we're holding at about 29.83. So we did lose that 30 handle here. Intel paring back some of its weakness from the pre-market here today and actually above the close from Friday. EXOL over 8 now as that continues to move higher. Look at this, right at the support. I tell you what, 13, I got a feeling that your trend line is going to get hit here. See if it's got the strength to keep moving higher.
Yeah, here comes some more volume. Here comes 850. There's a seller at 850.
Tesla and Apple both slowing down here for the first time right after the open. Izzy, who mentioned Amazon earlier on a pullback from the open, that looks like that pull might be over. Izzy, with all of these bottom wicks here on Amazon, I got to wonder here, 228 so far has been the spot to hold, but what do you think about a scalp here on Amazon?
You were talking about Intel earlier. Got to say, we need to see that 500-day SMA hold up. Because if it does, then we've got a pretty bullish looking pattern set up here for Intel. I would like to see, maybe another day or two of holding above this 500-day SMA, and then I'd be looking towards a move over 32 that takes us up to a very, very long-term trend line that I'm sure you can probably draw yourself if you have a large, the chart that goes back far enough.
Yeah, you know what? We have actually had a couple of long-term trend lines here. Let me go back to my bigger chart here for Intel and see what I have on that. I might already have it, and if not 13, I think I'd want to just add it anyway.
Voxel is just testing my trend line now, and it's right there. Right there.
All right, so here is the Intel chart. So no, I do not have the trend line. Let's go ahead and add that here. Here's the 500-day that 13 was just talking about. It looks like it's doing its best to hold that there. Sees a squirrel out there and he's trying to paw at it. That's not going to work. All right, where am I starting from?
April of 2021.
Got it.
High there. Draw it through the high from December of 2023, and that's your trend line.
Got it.
And now if that we've got that, look over at Boxel, because that is up at the trend line. We just moved over it. 990 is now the session high.
All right, we saved that trend line there on Intel. We'll be able to come back to that. Here's your BOXL chart. Let's look inside, and we are right to and through the trend line 13, dude.
And if this continues, there's a seller in the way of $10. If we take him out, 1065 is next, and there's $10. So we just hit that seller, backing off. See what happens here.
Tesla is trying to retest some of those highs there. Apple also trying to move higher here. We'll keep an eye on that. Looks like some more Apple call flow going off at the moment. And you guys are still talking about that BETR. So here is better. Here's what the chart looks like. This appears to be halted here. I know I checked on this earlier. This is, in fact, halted here, 36.95. That looks like just a volatility halt.
And it could go up to 46. 46 to 50 is where I'd kind of, I could see this going. That's about all I've got. We've got an interesting setup here on the daily chart where the 65 EMA is about to cross the 200 EMA. Typically, when these exponential moving averages, start to cross or cross each other, that's usually an indicator that this thing is really starting to go higher. So I'm thinking that maybe 46 is going to be the next area we'd want to keep our eyes on. If this, how much of a float this doesn't have much of a float either. So we could certainly see some 40 prints today.
Real quick here, the Eric Jackson news, this was squawked earlier. That was a really good mention, Izzy. I went ahead and turned my squawk on. I'll try and do that again here for you. Sometimes it can be tough if there's a lot of news keeping up with what's going on, but we'll give that a shot here. Mark saying, I have from my quantum research that we have a crash coming. And if I'm right, you heard it here first. Crash in what? Quantum stocks, regular market, be specific there. But the one thing I will say about a potential market crash here, boy, I'm sorry, bro. You would not be the first. We have been hearing thesis on that since April.
You got the squawk overlaying with what you were saying.
Oh, did you hear? You did hear the squawk that time? Yeah. Okay, so for whatever reason, I was asking you guys if this was going to be something that you could hear last week. I don't know why we're hearing it this week here. Interesting stuff, though. I know that can be extreme. You see what I mean about it being too hard? I was able to talk right over it, thankfully, because I have the volume adjusted, but I'll keep it off there.
IDAI news?
That's a good one. I am in IDAI. I did add a little bit to that, too. I'm not at a full position yet. I want to be a little bit tactical here, but here's what IDAI is doing. Actually, a nice little volume pump there as well. Let's see what we got here for the news on this.
A completed registration of identity-related blockchain token.
Okay. So we expected some news here. I'm not sure how much. This is basically a patent, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Covers ownership validation for cryptographic asset contracts using irreversibly transformed identity tokens, and sets the groundwork for a new generation of tokens embedded with that ID verification. This is what we've talked about recently. It's good to see that we're seeing some news here. Stocks trading up. Just as a reminder here, because I've added to this, my average price on this, $293. So now I'm actually above it on that. I'll take it. I did want to get some more. But I'm going to be patient on that. I did just add recently to this.
Yeah, lots of stuff really getting hammered right now. Like it just all of a sudden, we're just getting some pretty big downside moves. FLGC now halted the downside.
Now that's the one that we said, look, folks, be really careful with this one earlier. I'm unsurprised to see that moving back in.
Yeah, that one, QLGN, that they might be getting some support, but it's trading beneath VWAP right now. ARBE, this one is coming off of the bottom after that ugly knife. LASE lost VWAP coming back beneath the open. Tempest AI coming down. I mean, a lot of these are coming right back down. So have to be.
Look at Box. So I know we peaked above your trend line, but the reality here, if we just waited a little bit longer, BOXL, BOXL rejected at that trend line that we drew. Izzy is yelling at everybody here about Rich Tech. Let's take a look. We talked about this. We talked about the other robotic stock that was up here today. Rich Tech looks like 480 year resistance. This was a resistance from the pre-market on Friday. I have an intraday high here at 495. We'll see if we test either of those levels. Rich Tech looks good on pretty good buying volume here this morning. Tesla's still at the highs. Apple's still near the highs. Costco, by the way, sold off to 943 and held 945 so far.
I was getting asked about Costco earlier. Let me.
Yeah, Costco's got earnings this week, 13. So I think there's a lot of folks maybe looking to trade that here for earnings. That earnings print, by the way, is going to be after market on the 25th, which I believe is Thursday. All right, I'll be on the road.
Well, if you know, they could be good. There's a little bit of a trend line here. They could be good, but I've been saying for a while that I think Costco is going to be coming in some more. That's just my opinion. I think that we're going to see we're going to go below 900. My next support area is 875. So I think I can be able to tell you with a little bit more certainty in probably this week if that's going to end up happening, because I'm keeping an eye on a trend line here that if we lose, the price goes underneath it, that I think we're going to probably get my prints into 900. So I'm just kind of watching for that. We end up getting. I don't have much more to add to that right now, but I feel like Costco is going to come back in some more.
QLGN so far has held 7. It is worth noting that the 200 EMA is beneath that there at 650. So QLGN not showing any upside strength yet, but if you were waiting for a potential load zone here, based on what the chart is telling you, maybe we're getting there yet. No position here for me, QLGN. MTSR, this is the one that the Pfizer deal here. That's, I think, the nothing, or I shouldn't say that, the no trade there. Easy Go, this is just a penny stock that, although it's curling. Another penny stock here.
Looks like AGRI is still trying to recapture its VWAP. We haven't gotten any closes above the VWAP in the regular session except for the opening candle. MBX getting some support from its VWAP. I don't like the way MBX looks. I don't like the way their MACD looks. I feel like it's starting to look a little weak here. And if we lose VWAP, this probably is going to be losing some serious levels here. So I think you need to see this MBX get back above 24 or else.
Hey, look at ONDS, baby. Ondis, give me the $7 holla. Let's break above on Ondis here. It is testing 7. There's definitely some size up here, 6.99 and 7. So it's going to take some work on volume to get through this area, but giddy up. We'll take this out of the gate here.
QLGN trying to get back above the sideways consolidation in the pre-market. Like Boxel's trying to find some support.
Oh, hey. Tennis is life. I appreciate this. Shkreli covering his short. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the open there. I covered my open at 890. Better shorts out there. May revisit some other time. There you go.
So what, did he just get everybody like jumping into this thing? And now he's like, oh, I'm out.
We say all the time. We say all the time, be careful. We report the news both sides. Ondis through 7. Let's go.
Just remember why he went to prison in the first place, folks. If you don't know, I think you might want to learn.
That would definitely be something to look up. No question about it. Mark says, Ryan, I can send you my indicator for TradingView. Worth noting here for Pro, we have a licensed version of TradingView that we cannot add custom indicators to. Nonetheless, though, Matt, I'm still interested, or Mark, excuse me. I'm sorry about that, Mark. I'm still interested in that because one of the things that we're doing here at Benzinga behind the scenes, we actually have another charting system that we're working on that will allow for custom indicators from ones that the community has, but also, famous ones, if you will, like Ripster's Clouds and things of that nature. So while I can't do anything with it immediately, I am still interested in that, especially for future growth of the Benzinga Pro ecosystem.
Looks like Boxel's trying to make another move for that trend line. Tempest AI heading lower. Looks like QMCO is trying to turn around after hitting 1088. Still has to deal with that pre-market consolidation. IRN looks like that's trying to turn around. It's got VWAP in the way.
And UKK, this actually dipped and ripped. This did a really great job holding the pre-market low in the regular session and then trading up off of that low right there around 583. Wiz, good mention on this one. This turned around. I know, sorry I was late to it. This is Lion's favorite. Lion, how you doing? 711, lucky number there on this now. Oh, baby, what a day.
Yep. LASC still trying. It's recapturing its VWAP, so maybe there's something happening here. Still got to get about 530. NBIS. It seems like some of these are recovering.
NBIS basically right back down to where it opened. Rich Tech Robotics,
Yep.
RR13, got it.
Rich Tech Robotics coming up to a seller wall at 490. Large seller in the way. You need more volume to get through it.
Izzy, great mention early on RR here. Really early. This has been a multi-day move there for Izzy. Really good stuff. Getting more action here today.
Look at Voxel. This is trying to make its way back up to the trend line. Trying to make its way back over the, yep, over 9.
Sure is.
Right there with you, Kathy. Maybe it wants a little bit more. Take us up to 1065.
And another one. And another one. All right. Actually, haven't even really had to day trade yet, just because some of the things that we're swinging and holding are still working here.
Yeah, better is still halted. Ryan, Summerall, you're trading bull. That's having a good day, making its way towards 14. It was trading under 13 last week, not me, the price.
FLGC, this is now open out of its halt and actually looks like it's cracking and breaking down from that 200 EMA. FLGC, but I'm glad we issued a warning on that one earlier here. That's been nothing but a disappointment from when we talked about it here in the pre-market. BKKT, this is another one. Looks like it held the 65 EMA and is trying to recapture the 15 and the 9. That puts the VWAP squarely in target above that 1422 on that.
Getting a little bit of a pull here in Voxel. Took it beneath 9 again.
GGAL, Grupo Financiero, shares of Argentine stocks are trading higher after the U.S. Treasury Secretary Bessent says that the Treasury, quote, stands ready, end quote, to support Argentina. This stock here, GGAL, looks like it hit a high of 32, backing off a little bit now, but trying to recapture the VWAP.
Rich Tech Robotics just continuing to climb here. Took out that seller at 490, looking for 5 now.
Okay, SLNH being mentioned here by the chat. This one also moving. It's doing a pretty good job getting above those pre-market highs here. $1.40 and on some decent volume here, more than last week. TSSI is still squeezing. Let's take a look at that.
And MBX, this looks like this might get going here. Starting to get some volume, get some movement. Got to get above 24. It's the next resistance I see.
Okay, here is TSSI. Boy, where's Ryan Milligan? He was the first one that really kind of put this stock on my radar. I think that was back in a 6 handle. Now we're looking at 17.
Oh, yeah. IDAI is moving higher now.
All right.
I'm trying to.
I don't have enough to necessarily actively trade this. It would need a pretty huge move for me to sell this. I'm kind of taking a long-term approach here, and I've been scaling in. And I wouldn't even say, yeah, I'm not even at a half a position on this yet. So we'll try and be patient here. One thing I'm not going to do is chase performance.
Looks like Voxel getting weak here. 8 might be one of the last resistance areas before we start to see the price really fall down. So if it can't get a lift off of the 8 area here, might be coming back in underneath our 762 pre-market level.
Okay.
MBX finding some resistance at 24. LASE rejected at 530. Rich Check Robotics hit 504.
You know, this LASE rejection that you were talking about here, 13. First of all, I can't remember if you told me to throw this trend line out there, but we'll do that anyway, and we'll save that just to make sure. This little pullback here, we actually lost the VWAP in that. We would really want to see this maybe hold up and recapture some of those areas. Tesla's still at the highs, by the way, 441 on that, and Apple 251. That also still near the highs. Boy, good day here.
Tennis is life. That's great. That's great that you're just progressing better, more and more every day. That's great.
That's exactly what we're looking for here. Slow and steady absolutely wins this race.
Now, Voxel looking like this is having a hard time turning around at the moment.
AGRI through its VWAP right here.
Might get some continued weakness here in Voxel. If this starts to come back in, we'll probably have to wait for later for this to try and get back up. Is it coming back up to 10? I don't know. If it does, it's not looking like it might do that right away. We need to see those buyers step in, and they have not done that yet. And now we're starting to go back down to that 762 and lose. There we go. So we're getting a little bit weak here in Voxel. Maybe the buyer step in here, but we did hit that trend line. We are backing off of that, so don't be surprised if we continue lower.
Yeah, and here we go. Let's wait for this to really kind of show us the bottom as opposed to trying to catch the knife on this. New highs there, by the way. Jonathan here, NASDAQ is cracking down on shell companies holding crypto. They need to have an operating business, and I'm thinking this is why ASST is merging with SMLR. This might be a theme. Really good spot here, Jonathan. I appreciate you sharing this here with the group. How do we confirm that? How do we confirm that and then have another theme on our hands here?
That could be really good for banks, especially if we're going to be seeing a bunch of these, companies that are just treasury companies merge with real companies. That could open the door for a lot of M&A.
Musalem right now, we told you he's speaking here today, quote, loose financial conditions, other factors mean Fed should move cautiously on future rate cuts here. Yeah, it's worth noting here, S&P future and the rest of the market here actually looking to test a red-green move. The NASDAQ already went red to green. Apple, more new highs here. Same with Tesla. Boy, oh boy.
Agri, AGRI, that's trying to recapture VWAP still. MBX continuing to slowly climb up. It's looking like this is trying to, the MACD is also trying to curl back up. So this one's kind of interesting. It might get going here, MBX. You just need to see some volume, some more volume expansion.
Okay, good stuff here. Good start.
Tempest AI back up to its VWAP.
I was taking a look here to see if I saw any unusual options with Tempest. I did see a couple of sweeps here today, but given the news and where we're at, I almost think I would have expected more. Dangerous, I suppose, having those expectations. Tempest here looking like it's putting the VWAP on deck for a potential move higher. Worth noting, we do have a range that goes higher here to about just shy of 98. So a multi-point range here, 10, ticker TEM, if that can retake VWAP.
Let's see if Voxel can turn around here. It's got to recapture that 762 level. GME slowly climbing out of its hole. Aren't they supposed to be doing some kind of a reverse split?
For which one? Sorry?
GME.
I don't follow the GameStop stuff.
Let's see if got any of that. Not seeing anything there. No, I thought I saw something about potential stock split or reverse split, something like that. I don't know. I'd have to look into this some more, and I don't want to do that with GME.
Don't blame you.
All right, so here we are with Voxel. We're coming up to that area where the pre-market high was. 762. That's going to be the resistance area right now. We got to get back above that, or else this is probably going to head lower. There we go. We're trying to recapture it. And then
Just looking around here, kind of amazed by some of these moves here. I'll take it though.
Yep. LASC with a big pull. Looks like ARB is still trying to get back up to VWAP following that big nasty knife out of the open. And here we go. MBX. MBX is going.
Putting it on screen.
So I was saying this one was looking like it was going to start moving here. MACD was looking like it was curling up. Here we go. Got to break this topping out area here where the pre-market was trading up to. It's like 26.50, but the pre-market high is actually 28.19. So those are the next two levels that need to clear here in MBX.
Here's Relly, by the way. You guys are mentioning this. This was a pretty decent mention here. This moved from about 72 cents into dollar territory, 120-year intraday high. That's RELI, Reliance Global. Let me see if there was any news accompanying this 48% move we're seeing. Yes, as a matter of fact, we did just have a PR here. Reliance Global adds Cardano to the digital asset treasury following the initial Ethereum purchase. Okay, so this is already on our Ethereum watch list. I'm going to also add this to the altcoin treasury watch list. That's Relly.
Looks like IRN is still trying to come back. It's managed to recapture its VWAP. Need to see better volume in this, though. Still think that there's going to be some resistance on its way back up towards these highs in the pre-market. So 42 might start to really be tough for IRN.
Okay. This actually looks like it's at a pretty important spot. Tesla 644. Man, oh man. Anyone that was in Tesla for trading here today or from over the weekend, or Tesla option players, really good stuff here on Tesla.
Yeah, it's kind of on a rip right now. I'm starting to wonder if it's going to go back up to the 2024 highs. That would make the price target or the level we want to go up to the 488.54. That's the all-time high. That's where we looks like we're headed. I don't know if we're going to get up there before we see some kind of pullback, because this thing is really extended right now. But it could.
Izzy mentioning that Fubo is reversing here. Let's take a look at Fubo. This has actually been moving for us pretty good recently. Fubo 445 really needs to clear out 450, I feel like, Izzy. On Fubo. Really get going. Volume not impressive yet here today. BOXL maybe trying to recapture its what? It's 9 EMA here. Still above its VWAP. Would actually love a test down here at VWAP. I've got that at about 618. But maybe it tries and recapture its 9 here.
IRN still pushing up. Just keep in mind 42 might start to provide some pretty tough resistance. That's where all the big consolidation, the sideways consolidation from the pre-market price action goes. And we're coming right up to 42 right now. We're just, I think we're about 10 cents away. Big bear hug. You're looking for Tesla to come back in this week?
Yeah, so that looks like a short-term trade on a regression back to the mean. I understand it given the big spike out of the open here, 4+%. Was actually lower too in the pre-market.
Parker's Think or Swim. You mentioned PL, Planet Labs. What's going on with this one? I don't see any movement today, although it's had a fantastic run over the past just this month. Really, this month has been fantastic for Planet Labs, going from down in the 6 to 7 handle all the way up to overnight 11. I mean. So that's a really nice move. Looks like 12 is going to be your big resistance area. That's kind of where the price was topping out at back in 2021. So we are reaching multi-year levels now. $12 looks to be the resistance to me. And we are really extended here. We've got a 79 RSI. seems like if we do hit 12, we are going to get some pullback. That's kind of what my expectation would be.
Lion said, I sold his Tesla call. Good job, Lion. It looks like you were booking gains on that, right? Like you sold a Tesla call into this up move today, I assume. Ondas there, 724. Let's go, folks. Oh, I love all of the positivity around here. It is absolutely fantastic.
Parker's, you're just trying to catch the pullback. Because I think if this is going to pull back, $10 looks like a better spot. If you look at what the price was doing, because was this a SPAC? Let me see here.
RVSN, this is a penny stock that we've traded before. It looks like there's rail news. Secretary Duffy announces over $5 billion.
This was the DMY.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me just get this out here. Secretary Duffy announces over $5 billion to get America building safer, more reliable railroads. RVSN, UNP, and CSX would be stocks that would respond to that.
So Planet Labs was a SPAC. It was a DMY technology group that brought them to market. So that's where we got that sideways price action going into the end of 2021. I think that $10 spot, that looks like a pretty good support area if we come back in. What were you just mentioning? Which company?
It was several companies that were affected by news for the railroads there. It was RVSN, which we have traded off the movers before. It's a penny stock, CSX, and UNP. So those are railroad stocks.
Now, why is rail not moving on that? Maybe that's just because it's the cars, the freight cars.
Freight Car America. Interesting. Yeah. Good note there, 13.
Yeah, because we have seen this one run before on news about freight trains. Are fundamentals on MBX good enough to keep for swing trading? Let's see. I don't know. A lot of these don't really have great fundamentals. So, and this is a biotech company. Let's take a look here because I think we looked at this earlier. Yeah, the company doesn't have revenue. They got 39 million, almost 40 million in the bank. So that covers them for a couple of quarters, at which point they're going to have to raise capital. They also are, this is also when we looked at today because they announced they had their phase 2 trial results and they're going to be going into the next phase of their trial for canvuparatide. So
nice job.
You hit it first. So they're gonna raise capital. I'm certain of it because when you don't have revenue, it's the only other thing you can do is just offer more shares. And anyway, so I don't know the answer to your question. Just keep in mind that these biotechs they almost always continue lower. So don't know if this is going to be good enough to continue trading today. It might be while the news is still fresh, but I don't think this is something that is necessarily going to be great to hold on to. When it comes to biotechs, I typically only use them as day trades, unless you know about the news in advance before they announce it. It looks like it could go higher based on the way it's trading right now, but keep in mind that the fundamentals, it looks like they're going to have to raise capital at some point in the future.
Uber here, good mention from Izzy. This is back above 100 here. This actually looked like it kind of consolidated around this trend line. New all-time highs here for Uber now. So nice little strong move there. Hey, look, it worked. It worked. We put up the 420 pot leaf symbol. Here's Wisdom sending big love and prayers for abundance for all y'all retired is amazing. No newspapers are reading, just sunshine and bubble gum. Boy, I could get used to that, Wisdom. Many blessings.
That's more reliable than the bat signal.
Wisdom, we are happy to see you. Happy Monday, boss. Thank you for blessing the stream, by the way.
Yeah, thank you. Parker, you're asking about UEC or UU for uranium plays. I think the best one for uranium plays was LEU, right?
Yeah. How's that doing here, by the way, this morning, LEU? We didn't hit 300 yet, huh?
Nope, kind of been going sideways since Friday, it looks like. We did break over the trend line on Friday, and now we're still trading above it. I think you're probably not interested, Parker, in LAU because of the run that it's been on, and that this probably is not a great spot to be buying something that's breaking out into new all-time highs. So I don't know if that answers your question, but you're looking for something that's in the uranium space that's maybe cheaper. That's why you're asking about UEC. But you look at the chart. This thing's also been on a run. And I'm sure U4 is also going to be the same situation. Yeah. So I don't necessarily know that I'd be buying any of these uranium names up here. I'd wait for, I'm not saying that they're not going to be great. I'm certain that they are, but I don't think I'd be buying them up here for a trade. I think I'd wait. That's just me, though.
Paul, as far as that better halt, we've gotten no indication there. It looked like it was just a volatility halt. I haven't heard anything. It is still halted here at the same spot. That's ticker BETR. No indication on the resumption time for that.
Dude, we need you. Boxel back over VWAP. Yeah, it's trading. Well, I don't know where your VWAP is. It might be different in your broker. It hasn't ever gone beneath VWAP for me. Not even since the in the pre-market. It's been above it the entire time we've been testing it. We have not broken beneath it. I think once we do break beneath it, though, I think that's going to be a big indicator that this will probably go lower.
Really quickly here, Habib is asking about thoughts on APLD long calls. By the way, really quickly, before I go to APLD, AGRI did come into the 65 EMA on the 5. So far, it's holding there, but the bounce doesn't look great. It's just so far holding. As far as APLD goes here, this is one that I straight up missed. I feel like you guys in the chat were on this on the data center angle for some time now. We're seeing another push to the highs here. So the way I would answer your question about thoughts on the long calls, I would say if you're going to schedule or if you're going to put a trade on, try and capture more upside here, just keep in mind where we're coming from on the daily. So you're definitely chasing a little bit here. So as far as using calls, I think that's probably the right way to go. Define your risk ahead of time here. Just be sure on those calls that you're not going to be in big trouble if this thing really kind of pulls back on you, or have a plan in case that's the scenario here. Otherwise, for a longer term swing long entry, I'd really like this to come back into a support area. I think that that's probably going to happen. Look at the previous price action here. Even after some of these meteoric rises, it does pull back and retrace some of that. So I think patience might work here, but if you absolutely need exposure, I would make sure that you focus on the risk side of your equation first here.
NBIS, new all-time highs.
Okay, there we go. APLD. New highs here, literally as we're talking about that, new highs here. Grats if you're already in this too, because what a huge move this thing has been on.
Yeah, it looks like Boxel's trying to push higher. 850's got the next resistance area. Big seller on the way. So we chew through that. Could see 875 again. Maybe even 10. Maybe. And what else is happening here? Looks like ARBE still trying to climb back up. It's testing its VWAP right now. This thing might be able to get going here, but it needs more volume.
I mean, it really needs to take out that VWAP eventually at 205. More highs, by the way, APLD.
And if MBX can continue to hold above 24, we might see another push higher to that 28.19 pre-market high.
Yeah, you were right on that MBIS push. QLGN still coming in. I guess 651, the next spot to watch there. That's your 200 EMA.
Bridge Tech Robotics running into resistance area at 5, trying to push through it right now.
This is a monster winner, Izzy. This was so good. This was so good. How's Serve doing today? That was the other one that kind of trades with this. I don't think we looked at it yet. Go ahead, 13. I'm sorry.
Jonathan Cooper mentioning that plug might be on a squeeze. That's plug power, ticker PLUG. This is up 13% today. Approaching the 500-day SMA. That value is going to be at 266. So that's something certainly a spot to watch for resistance. And it might actually provide it too, considering that the RSI is over 83. Some stuff to watch here. Boxel trying to hold above $8, not having the greatest time doing it. Be careful. GoPro squeeze.
BKKT, which we talked about, this actually might be making a move back toward its VWAP. You want me to go to G Pro?
Oh, it's just somebody that was mentioning GoPro.
That's not just somebody. That's Izzy, and he's yelling.
Okay.
But here's a look at. I'm just kidding, guys. Here's a look at your intraday chart. All buying volume. This took us right off that 240 level. NBIS pushing Apple more highs. 252 now on Apple.
We got Tempest AI really coming back in now, looking for support at the 65 EMA. Iron pushing higher. It's chewing through all the sellers we were mentioning.
Let me bring up Iron.
It's just doing it pretty slowly, making its way through all the sideways consolidation in the pre-market. 43.50 is the high. And BIS continuing to push higher. 103.54 is the current high.
Yeah, and good mention here on Tesla, by the way, Big Bear Hug, selling volume, Tesla is increasing. You know, the overall volume here is contracting, and some of it is flipping over to that buying volume, that selling volumes. 444, your high print there. Still seeing our Apple and Tesla calls being swept up here today.
Rich Tech Robotics still climbing higher into the 5 handle, 509 current high.
TSSI, Progressive G saying the TSSI chart, nice intraday spike with the TikTok catalyst. Nice little flag up here. I think if this holds, maybe we do make a run towards the top end of that range. Would love to see this come in and hold VWAP at 1676.
GoPro needs to merge with one of the drone companies. That would actually make a lot of sense.
You know what? So I thought about that. What's the advantage for the drone company buying GoPro as opposed to developing their own optics?
I think there's, I don't know this for a fact, but there might be some more of a software side to that with GoPro, and I don't have the answer to that, but there might be some other assets in GoPro that would be worth it for a drone company, just to pick up instead of develop their own, because it could be more costly to develop their own.
Yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Mark here saying time. That's something else that I kind of thought of. GoPro seems like those cameras were developed for, being able to capture extreme action, whether it's, snowboarding or skydiving or whatever. So I definitely see the appeal. If there was a synergy there, I could get behind that. But otherwise, I think I remain in the skeptical camp on that until I see something else. Not a bad idea, though, especially in its infancy here.
I mean, the drone's been going through some pretty extreme stuff lately.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Zach here saying, why reinvent the wheel? I get it. Believe me, I get it. I don't know. I know drones are a hot theme now, and I just don't know if that's really what the next thing is going to be. Definitely something to watch here. TSSI, by the way, now trying to recapture 17. We'll see if this tries to push higher here.
Silver popping, says Lion, or unless that's okay, so First Majestic. So this is moving, looks like 1230 is going to be a resistance area there for First Majestic.
And see, this is the other thing. Zach's hitting it here. So the drones have much more advanced optics. I would imagine that the next spot for drones, it wouldn't necessarily some of them, the ISR stuff is already doing this. But I mean, GoPro, they specialize in a camera that you can, just a regular old camera, for lack of a better term. I know drones definitely going to be going for infrared, thermal, all types of other, vision techniques. I think about that. I get why it makes sense, and I'm just not sure how good I feel about that yet.
GoPro looks like it's been on the recovery all year since April. Got a golden cross back in August. Looks like it's trying to. Did we fill this gap already? Let's see. That gap fills. Nope. the gap from February last year did not get filled yet. So we are in that gap right now. So we could see that happen. I mean, this thing's been hammered down. I could see this continuing to go a little bit higher. Not sure on what, but we are getting pretty extended here too.
Is he mentioning the better warrants here? These are still trading, right? Am I getting? I don't. Let me see. Let me bring the BETRW is your warrant ticker. I see prints. This does not look halted. So the warrants screaming higher here. Better still halted though.
Rich Check Robotics hit 519, and it looks like it's starting to reverse. So keep that in mind. Better warrants are just kind of skyrocketing right now because the BETR has been kind of halted for the longest time now. It looks like Voxel's going to lose 7. Oh, there it goes, down to VWAP.
Interesting. Rally went higher after its resumption here. Is this going to halt at 155 on Rally? It is halted. So, okay, I beg your pardon. Halted again to the upside here on Rally. This did pull out of that first halt, but rehalted.
So if Voxel doesn't reverse here at VWAP, this thing's probably done for now. QLGN still trying to reverse. It's been trying to do that all morning. Just got some support from the 200 EMA. Maybe it finally reverses there. AGRI, that's not really doing a whole lot except looking like it's going to go lower. MBX might be setting up to make another push higher if it can hold 24.
LASE, that looks like the trend line kind of stopped that. That hasn't firmed up yet. Here's your MBX. This might be one of our better setups here, 13. Maybe this does go higher.
Yeah.
Out of this formation, we'll see.
Looks like Tempest AI might have found some support here, but needs to recapture the 65 EMA and close above it. See if MBX can push up. QLGN continues to move towards VWAP.
More repeat call activity there on RR. Good job, Jane. I'm happy with my AGRI trade. Worked out, and I started the week on a good note. That's how we do things. Way to go,
Nice.
Jane.
Nice. Tesla looking for 448.49 later today.
I'm going to refresh my pro here.
All right, looks like we're getting a little bit of a lift here in MBX.
Not a bad call on this 13. Not bad for a setup.
Not really. It just needs more volume. It's moving a little too slow. Solar in the way at 25.50. ARBE might also provide some more upside here. This is the one that had the big run up into the open and is absolutely knifed right back down to the starting point. So now that everybody's been completely shaken out of it, this we'll see if this can get lifted back above the VWAP.
Duolingo, this ripping here. I do see some puts getting bought into this. This is up 6.76% here today. Let's see if there was any news. That ticker is DUOL.
Dip buyer's killing it. Got 1655 on his gains there. Well done.
It's insider exercising some options into stock on Duolingo. Don't see anything else catalyst-wise there. Rally is open and moving higher, at least so far. No position on any of these movers here for me today.
That's right, Zach. Brunch time is starting. We got 3 minutes left until that 10:30 time where volume starts to leave the market.
Rally here going to rehalt to the downside at 147 if this holds here. It continues to build on the offer there.
Oh, really?
And halted. Rally 147 nice. To the downside on your third halt there.
Nice stuff. Nice stuff. So, still waiting for MBX to make some kind of move. We still had that seller in the way at 25.50. That's probably getting the reason why we're pulling a little bit here, but we're still trying to hit that 25.50 guy. And this thing has a spread on it too, by the way. It's like 25 to 30 cent spread. So just be careful too as well with MBX.
Yeah, Izzy, I do see those RR calls coming in. There's definitely some increased call flow on RR here today. I wanted to check out and see what we got here. Let me just review some of these comments here out of the Fed or out of the Fed speakers that are talking right now.
Hey, that's good. Producers asking, where do we have lunch reservations? Zach's all Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. So actually, it's funny. I went yesterday. One of my really good friends lost his father recently, and we had the ceremony for that beautiful ceremony, the whole 9 yards. They had a bunch of food that they catered, and it was absolutely delicious. There was like these little mini sandwiches and a fruit tray, and they had all this stuff. And he said, show up hungry, right? Show up hungry because we're going to have a lot of food there. And so I do. And definitely enjoyed that. And I was like, this is you don't want to go back to the food line. That's not what this is for. Not on like a funeral ceremony like this. I go back home. I get a call from him later, and he goes, I told specifically my friends to eat a lot because I wanted to go through the food, and we brought home way too much food. Is there any chance you want to come over and pick some of it up? So my lunch reservations are leftover from the from the ceremony that I went to yesterday. So no reservations for me here today, but my lunch is already planned, and it's going to be outstanding.
Free lunch for Ryan.
Free lunch. BKKT, by the way, through its VWAP.
All right. So Jonathan Cooper mentioning that we should keep an eye on DJT. Are we going to get some kind of crypto news that's going to affect DJT, or what's the thought here with this one? We are coming up to a trend line here. A really big one that starts from when shortly after it IPO'd back in or wherever the SPAC was, I believe. This went all the way up to, what is this? A ridiculous price. 170 something. Come on, I'll get on there.
Yeah, real quickly here. Just to answer Izzy's question here. Izzy, you were asking about the Rich Tech Robotics. So there were a couple here. Here are the sweeps that Pro picked up. I actually saw someone on FinTwit discussing them as well. They might have some different ones. Couple of things of note here. First of all, the bigger sweeps definitely seem to be the outsized buy, right? Looks like they bought the in the money calls there, 400 of them. Excuse me, the $4 calls, 710 of them. Does look like there was a closing trade here on the 2 calls. But then also the 7 calls got bought here. So it looks like the 7 and the 4, these are for the October contract. The October contract, that's RR. I'll let you know if I see any others. Critical Squid says, what a nice friend. Indeed. One of the nicer people that I've met, him and his entire family. I'm lucky. There's no question about that. All right.
So when it comes to DJT, I mean, we are trying to recapture the 50-day SMA. It's been trying to do that since May, and it's been rejected every time. So that's certainly something to watch for, is if we can start closing above the 50-day SMA. But Jonathan, if you can provide any other context as to why DJT is worth keeping an eye on, let me know.
It's just sideways here on the daily chart. I guess we'll see if we can, what is this, 1868? Yeah, 1868 is a key level that we had identified from previous trading here. It looks like it's almost the neckline of an inverse head and shoulders that didn't work out. We'll keep an eye on that. I would be very careful. DJT, for me, this is an intraday trade vehicle. To me, this is something that I feel like you're just straight up gambling if you hold this in either direction overnight. That's just my 2 cents on it.
GME and DJT look to trade similar, he says.
Sarepta here. We talked about this getting an upgrade here this morning. Sarepta actually moving higher after a profit-taking dip out of the open. As a reminder here, that was BMO Capital upgrading Sarepta to outperform in a $50 price target. Stock's $19.30 even after the 11% move here today. Looking through the list here, MBX, that's still kind of holding that, actually showing some wicks to the bottom. Rally is open here. We'll see what direction this goes next on Rally.
Brian, presidents have held companies during their presidency, but I don't think they've ever held a public company.
In fact, haven't some of them had to sell because of that, because of the possible compliance issues?
I think that's been the case. Yeah, I don't think any presidents ever held a public company, but they've owned their own businesses, private businesses, while they were president.
Rally here going to halt to the upside at 172 if this holds. Oh, yep, that is held and halted here on Rally. Well, it actually looked like they might pull that off there, but they didn't. Rally halted again.
MBX unable to get back above the pre-market highs, also losing 24. Trying to get a lift here, but let's see if that ends up happening. It's the volume needs to be better. And volume needs to be better in a lot of these, and we're already at that time where volume's leaving the market. So don't expect follow through in a lot of these.
At that time, though, market actually doing pretty well here. So we're not above, no new all-time high yet. It looks like we set that. Yeah, no new all-time high yet. We set that on Thursday. Here's what the SPY chart looks like inside. So we're pushing up to the high area that we made on Friday, right around the close here. 664. Worth noting that the other markets look like this as well. Here's your Qs. These are right up at the highs from Friday, and the diamonds, ticker DIA for the Dow, that also doing something similar here. I guess this is probably the weakest of those.
And then IWM, not it's kind of like flat today, but still having trouble with that 245 level. That is the big level that the price needs to start trading over. If we're going to go higher, that has been that was resistance back from 2021. It's resistance back in 2024. It's resistance right now.
And remember, we actually had comments here from Musalem this morning saying that, the first rate cut felt necessary, but kind of cautioned on further rate cutting. And I would imagine that would be affecting IWM to the downside here. Jared mentioning that Apple is in beast mode. Indeed, it is. Glad we covered that story here. Remember, this is higher than anticipated demand in China and India for the new iPhone 17. We had actually a discussion 13 before you got on here regarding upgrade cycles for the phone. And it looked like a lot of people in our chat, not only are they on several older generations, I think Big of Bees has an iPhone 10, but a lot of them said they're not interested in upgrading unless the phone stops working. So we're at a point now with some of these phones where the technology is so good that unless that technology falters, you don't feel as if you have that need to upgrade. On the flip side of that, we've got Apple saying, this demand might be, another higher than we anticipated in the cycle, and that would be obviously great for the stock. Apple responding here, plus almost 3%.
QLGN losing its 200 EMA on the 5-minute. So this one that we looked at this morning, glad we waited because this didn't do anything. This did
QLGN.
Yeah, this did nothing today.
Yep.
AGRI, we've had some good price action out of the gate, but nothing since then. We're coming down towards the 200 EMA. We're losing some levels in this one as well. We're actually at a support area, so if this doesn't turn around here, it's looking like the 200 EMA is next. MBX, that's also trying to get some support in the 22, 23 handle. It needs to recapture 24 if we're going to see any more upside. FLGC, we also looked at this one. This one's been leaking all morning as well, trading beneath the 200 EMA as also. LASE, a lot of these names are just really having a hard time right now. Tempest AI turning around, so maybe there's some trades to be happening there, but volume's not really available, so keep that in mind as well. It's probably going to be better to wait for some of these later on because the volume in the market is just not there right now.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the SPY here. That's just pushing, so I don't know that chasing it is really the way to go. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna.
Hey,
it's great to see you here. Jake, first time I've seen this name here. Got AGRI at 850 for a very small amount. Should I just sell for a loss. Okay, couple of things here. Welcome to the stream. I know that you're new here. We cannot advise what you buy or sell. Neither 13 nor I have a Series 7 license. We are not financial advisors. Everything that we are discussing here is basically what we see and what we are doing. We cannot give you any advice. Now, looking at the actual chart that you provided here, this to me looks like not a great chart here. We had an impulse move and a big pullback. Then we tried to bounce, didn't even get halfway up, rolled over and took those lows out. To me, it sure looks like the next spot here, 473. As far as your position goes, it's going to be your risk tolerance that's going to dictate whether you hold for another move, add, or simply sell and move on. We can't answer that for you.
And it does look like there is some kind of seller walking the price down right now. So as soon as he exhausts all his shares, this might try to trade back up. But so far, that doesn't look like it's happened quite yet.
Rally is open. New highs now on Rally. I see more size right up here, and they got deleted right up to 188, which is your intraday high. We'll see here on Rally. Grats if anyone had this one. This came from penny territory here, and we are moving up these levels pretty quickly here. RELI.
QMCO is at its 65 EMA. After that, there's the sideways consolidation from the pre-market that's going to provide resistance, and then the trend line that we drew. Next 3 resistance areas. NBIS still trying to push higher. 104.18 is the current high. It looks like it's trying to take that out right now.
Relly's going for a $2 holla, it looks like here. 190 is your high print so far. Here's your QMCO chart. This actually looks like a pretty good turnaround, although I don't know if there's any more in this. They brought in a big bid there on Relly 185. That pushed it back to 191 new high there. Relly, this is caught. This is caught. One of the things I will say here, if you were a buyer under 1, if you were buying this in here, just figure out what your risk to reward is. Just like we were getting asked about a stock that's not working. Think about the same thing here on the upside. You've got 100% move. More than that, stock's up 165% here today. Just make sure you don't give back any gains. That's not your money until it's realized.
Edwards asked if you look at the options flow for Nokia and the charts. Charts to me look like this is more sideways than the crab walk, but I don't know what's going to make this push out or break out and go higher. We are at the 200 day SMA, so if we can recapture that, that'd be a good sign. We just had a death prospect last month, so I'm not sure what's going to happen here. If we're just going to continue going sideways, or if we're going to try and get above 5 and make some new multi-year highs.
Really quickly here, things happen fast when you're trading movers here. Right after my warning to take gains, Relly halted into a downside halt, 169. That is a 30-cent pull from where it just was. Just hat tip there for you. As far as Nokia goes, here's the chart. 13, you did a really good job breaking that down. The only unusual options trade that Benzinga Pro has flagged here today would be a 5,000 contract sweep for the 5 call that expires in October. So this looks like an upside bet here. The trader only used 50 grand. I mean, I say that tongue in cheek here. Trader used 50 grand on this one single trade. That's all that I've got here. To me, it looks like this is a bet on Nokia moving 2 and through 5. I don't know if we get that, but that's what I see here using Pro. Smoke Tuna, looks like you're watching LASE here today. We covered that on the move here this morning. We do have a trend line that we're battling. Let me ask you, Tuna, now that this is pulled back here, do you have a load zone here for this? Maybe 450-ish? I've got 447 as the 200-day, 200 EMA on the 5. Easy for me to say. Let me know if you have a load zone there for that.
Healthcare sector strong today. That's good because it's been one of the most beat up sectors year to date. That and consumer discretionary. Nice to see some of these moving.
Indeed, it is. You know, it would also nice to see, it would also be nice to see if we can get some moment or rotations. If we can identify some rotation out of individual names into some other themes, that would be great for more than just one trade, and for a trade that we can hold for longer than 5 minutes. Someone else earlier, and I'm sorry I didn't get to it, asked about Nvidia. Nvidia here down by 0.5%, but when we go to the daily chart, we have a near-term trend line that we have really been trying to break. This trend line originates on the 28th of August, and it was recently here in September that Nvidia has run up to that as resistance. We are still using that as resistance here. So until Nvidia can get above this, to me, it's just one of those where we're kind of waiting and seeing here. Ryan Tesla says, K-Sing, we've been looking at Tesla all morning here today. It does seem like the option flow has slowed down a little bit for Tesla. 444, 445 seem to be that high. We're doing a really good job of holding this here. So without a breakdown here, maybe we retest 445 to the upside. We'll see. Tesla here, volume is contracting a little bit. Someone else mentioned earlier that the volume flipped from extreme buying to a little bit of selling. We're seeing that on the chart here, and we're seeing some of those call sweeps slow down. APLD, which we got asked about earlier today, APLD right up here around 2150, seeing some more calls here. These look like the 22 in November, the 20 put for November. Wonder if that was bought as part of a spread here, but it looks like we do see some APLD call flow and also seeing some Oracle call flow. And look at the Oracle chart.
Fantastic. Getting asked about BBAI, if it's worth a long-term hold or if it's just overhyped, because Ray's asking about it being a potential competitor of PLTR. Remember when we had that discussion?
Yeah, that's been a long time discussion. I think even if that's the case, they are so far spread apart, I'm not even sure you can reasonably call that a competitor.
Yeah, didn't they have news recently, BBAI? I thought they had some market moving news. Let me see here, see if I can see anything.
And while you're looking that up here, Lambo Roll says, have you guys talked about the Oracle story here today? Yes, we did. We covered that earlier in the news segment. We haven't done much trading on Oracle, but we did talk about that. That also has to do with the TikTok thing. Here's the article from this morning, Lambo Rolls. That was covered as the second story right after the Stock Market Today segment this morning. That was in our A block.
I don't know if BBAI is going to be the next Palantir. Maybe there is something here that takes it higher. I certainly can see that. It's been getting some pretty good support from the 200-day SMA. There's a trend line that it's moving up to that it could potentially break. It looks like there's resistance in the way at about 745, 740. I don't know that it's going to be the next Palantir. I don't also think that it's overhyped. I just don't know what kind of moves we're going to get. I think I would just keep an eye on that trend line, and if I had to guess, probably one of the best case scenarios is that this makes its way back up to 10 pretty soon. Beyond that, I don't know where this goes. I'd have to look a little bit more into this. But I have heard that rumor that it is supposed to be the next Palantir, so we'll see if that's true or not.
You're welcome, Lambo. No problem at all. Lots of Fed talk this week indeed, and I think every day here. So today, tomorrow, we have Bostic and Powell. Wednesday, we have Daly. Thursday, we have Bowman, Barr. And then on Friday, we've got Barkin, Bowman, and Musalem again. So you're absolutely right. Yeah, get in there.
And we have the GDP and PCE reports this week as well.
Correct. PCE comes on Friday. GDP, I believe, is, where's that on my list? God, there's so much here.
Should be Thursday. Wednesday.
Yep. Durable goods, jobless claims, retail inventories, home sales on Thursday.
All right. Smoked tuna, you just mentioned BBI for what's going on with that? Is that starting to get a little more?
It's got a nice little curl here on the chart. Basically 10 cents away from flashing a red to green move. BBAI.
Is he saying Nike has news that ticker is going to be NKE?
Let's see what the Nike news is here. This is actually up by 1.6% here. Actually a pretty good day. Earnings in 8 days on Nike, FYI.
they're going to roll out Nike Skims produce line on September 26th. Produce line.
I think they meant product.
Yeah,
Is this
I think so.
Skims? Is this the Kardashian thing?
Hims?
Skims.
Oh, Skims? Oh, I don't know. Probably. Yeah, I would think so. I just clicked on the link.
Yep.
And it's
Co-founder and chief creative officer Kim Kardashian. That is going to be the Kardashian line that they're bringing up there.
All right.
Tennis is life. Any chance you can put Squawk on? No. Squawk has very specific rules. I cannot broadcast it in real time for free. No, I cannot do that. If you want access to Squawk as soon as possible, please subscribe to Benzinga Pro. It's absolutely worth it if for Squawk alone.
Did you mention that Aurelie is halted for the second time now? I think this is the second halt.
No, we're on much more halts than that. We are on our 6th halt here for Aurelie.
Okay. I mean, I meant to the downside.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I actually think that we had. You might be right on that. We also might have had another one here. I think this might be our 3rd downside halt. Better opened, doubled, and halted. That's BETR. Did that? We were waiting on that one. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Izzy, where are you at? Were you in this? Because Izzy was talking about this earlier here. Wowzors. Big move here, BETR.
So big that, in fact, it looks like this was almost a 2x from the halt.
Yeah.
So that's a fast move, folks. Fastest you'll probably see in our lifetimes. I mean, we've seen lots of 2x's happen real fast, but for a stock that price, not very often. QMCO, it's probably going to hit the trend line. This thing is just slow grinding its way back up to the open print. Oh my goodness. I got to look and see what the news is on this.
On which one? Better?
No.
Okay.
Voyager.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah. They acquire Bridgecom proprietary technology. That's just today. No financial terms disclosed. To me, this, whatever. I think the real news that gets this to run is it has to do with Starship. Yeah.
I think you're right on that. This is still under where I ended up getting out of this and booking my loss. Real quick, Critical Squid, what's the news on BETR? This is Izzy gave it to us. Eric Jackson, the same guy that had a thesis on open going to 82. He also has some thesis on better, although I couldn't find it yet. Izzy, if you have it handy, Izzy, maybe tweet it for me and I'll share it here with the group. Let me check and see if it got piped into Pro here. I don't see it yet. And then the other thing there, Ray is asking, I have a general off-topic question. How often have you had shares called away on a covered call? So I haven't. In fact, the only time I've exercised options into stock was just one time. And that was, I kind of wanted to see how it went. Didn't really have that as part of the plan. Generally speaking, I don't have that happen. I normally clean up the options prior to expiry.
MBX lost its VWAP. This is probably going to be much or not as good for a good portion of the day. Maybe in the afternoon it comes back, but for now I'm looking at the 65 EMA thinking that's coming next. ARBE, this thing's still trying to recapture its VWAP. We had one test up there earlier this morning, didn't get above it. LASE, this is losing some levels. This lost the 260 level I had mentioned earlier, and it's now down at its 200 EMA. QLGN continues lower. AGRI trying to reverse recapture at 65 EMA. It was a good mention on Bull. That had a nice move up. It had some consolidation. Now it's breaking out of that consolidation, going higher into the 14 handle. Really nice mention there on that one.
Maybe we'll finally get some bullish action on this. Speaking of bullish, what about the stock bullish, BLSH?
Really open and found some support from the 9 EMA. It's trying to turn around. I don't trust the volume. It needs to be better if we're going to come back up towards 2. Rich Check Robotics. This one looks like it's trying to go for the session high at 519. Better's open. That's what somebody just said. I still see it as halted. Looks like it opened and then halted real fast again.
On which one? Better?
Better, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me. I've got it halted here as the 3rd halt per Benzinga Pro.
Yeah, because we got that halt after that big move that 2x'd it, and now we got this second one that opened at, what, 65 and then closed at 71.50. Halted there. Lots of things coming in, folks. Things coming in.
KOD, ticker KOD, Kodiak Sciences. This is up almost 40% on pretty good volume here to a 13 handle. Let's see, promising drug pipeline and strong financial position. Let's see. This looks like it's running on the back of MBX. No, it can't be.
Brian M saying that BM&R is about to flush. Here. Tennis is life looking at major FOMO on BTR. I don't feel it. I don't want to touch that.
Me either.
Where is the entry? I don't think you're wrong either.
Well, let's think about this. Let's think through it a little bit. We only got 6 minutes left. Where's the entry here? Look at the chart. Tell me where the entry was. Well, don't say before the pump because you didn't tell yourself anything. Where's the entry here?
I don't know where the entry is.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying tennis is life.
Well, I'm just saying that it looks like I think he's right in the sense that there are still people jumping into this thing up here. It's not us, but there are other people that are doing it thinking, oh, I can't miss out on this wild price action.
That's exactly where I'm going here. The reason you feel like that is because you're looking at a stock that doubled in an instant while you were at your terminal. The reality is that think back and think, how could I have gotten into this? Was there a news catalyst that was going to drive it? Was the chart doing something that maybe would have alluded to that? My point here is that I understand you see a stock that moved up $37 and you're thinking, boy, that could have changed my life here today. We all think that. The reality is of actually getting this and buying it and then being able to sell it on something that made sense there. I don't know that you had that here. This is just, unless you saw that Eric Jackson thing right away and you had time to buy it prior to the halt, this thing made a huge move there. You shouldn't beat yourself up over this. There will be other opportunities that will have a better, more clear entry signal.
And we've had so many of these names that we've seen that just absolutely rip, and we just haven't been able to get into position of them. And they happen all the time. We'll find others that'll do this. They happen frequently. We're going to have a situation with multiple 100% runners. Absolutely. We'll see more of those.
Izzy saying entry was Izzy told you guys. Izzy, as much as I love you and respect you, that is never a trading plan. And you are never going to hear us recommending that just because somebody said something. We're going to try and find something more than that. But I understand people trade on that, and we'll mention that as a data point when we get it. But I can't use that as an entry target. Or as an entry alert, I guess. All right, 4 minutes left here, 13. What else we got going on?
Well, it looks like
Apple drifting higher.
BBI is still trying to climb up to that 680 area where the price is consolidating. So still looks like this wants to try at least hit that. Got a little bit of a pullback here in Webull. Rich Tech Robotics, new session high, 525 now. Looks like the next big seller on the way is going to be about 535. NBIS pulling off of its session high, all-time high actually, of 104.50. Iron coming back in a little bit. You can probably draw a trend line with some of the peaks we've got in the pre-market and the regular session with that one. QMCO still trying to hit that trend line we drew earlier. Nice recovery after it dropped out of the gate there. Tempest AI, this thing is continuing to drift lower. LASE, same thing. ARBE kind of sideways at the moment. FLGC trying to find the bottom. MBX still searching for theirs, and AGRI trying to recapture the 65 EMA. QLGN still going lower. Voxel just had a drop out of the VWAP, trying to recapture that in the process right now.
Jay, I love this. There will always be another bus. Just because you bogeyed the last hole doesn't mean you can't tee it up the next day. Amen, brother. I'll take the golf reference on that all the time. All of the time.
Focus on making par. Sometimes you'll birdie.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Oh man, I'm ready for the Ryder Cup too. Give me the competition at Bethpage Black. Just give it to me. I cannot wait for that.
The third downside halt for Relly. I know it's not the third halt of the session, but since we peaked at 195, this is the
might be it then though.
Well, and we're down to VWAP, so watch to see if we get this hold above VWAP. That'd be super interesting. It would be.
More Apple call flow as that continues to melt higher here. Bitcoin actually holding about 113 now.
Looks like QMCO still trying to go for that 65 EMA recapture. Looks like the market's starting to get a little recovery here. BETR open 86.30, now the session high. It's going higher. Probably going to search out 100 if it doesn't halt.
Rally is resumed and moving lower here.
Yeah, so there's where you're going to want to see some support kick in. It's not happening yet, though.
Okay. All right. We are out of time here for this morning. 13. This is a great Monday, a victory Monday for us to kind of kick the week off here today. Any closing words for the group?
Another wonderful day trading with everybody. Hope everybody made some money and is going to have a wonderful rest of their day. If you're looking for trades some more in the afternoon, best of luck to you. Hope everything works out. I'll be back here tomorrow with Ryan. We'll talk some more. We'll trade some more. We'll find some more movers. We'll make some money. It'll be a good time. I'll see you then, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Wonderful stuff, 13. We'll catch him on happy hour later, and we'll be back here again tomorrow for a T3 Tuesday. Folks, have a great rest of your Monday. Enjoy the football game if you partake here tonight. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Trader Bacon is next. I'm going to send you there. You don't have to